Well. Hello. 1 second. Oh. Let me also crack open my... I switched over to San Pellegrino, okay? It is too damn tasty. The limonata. I don't know, all of them have been really tasty, so... Alright, here we go. Okay, well. Hello, guys. Started a little bit late. I mean, this is kind of like typical time, but I meant I was gonna actually be face cammed ready, but I was feeding my cats. Actually, you can hear one of them's they're both eating right now, but Nala, who's on the kitchen counter right now, I usually feed her first on the kitchen counter, and then I go to feed my other cat over there. Anyways, as I went to feed my other cat, the final step of feeding them is I keep all the cat food in the lower drawer down there. I put the thing back, zipped up the thing, closed the drawer, and then I was wondering, like, where's Nala? Because there's not that much space in my place. And I could hear her meowing, but it sounded like it was coming from like a very muted... I couldn't figure out where the hell she was. I just hear her meowing. And then it finally dawned on me, while I was feeding my other cat, she snuck into the lower drawer and went behind, like inside the cabinet. You know what I mean? Like where the cats can do that, right? So I didn't see her, so I just slid the drawer closed. Meanwhile, she was somewhere in the crawl space underneath behind it. So anyways, that was my little who asked moment. Happy Tuesday, guys. Thanks for being here. Average profile picture, APP. Thanks for being the first one to say hi. And thanks for your patience. I did finally give you the the song choice that you were asking about. Sorry, because I don't have it. Usually I have to open up my project file and then double check what the song is and stuff. So it's a few steps removed from being able to quickly off memory know what it is. But thank you for the question. I appreciate it. And hopefully you enjoyed the video. Reminder, I have posted my second video, or sorry, episode 3 of my travel series. It's pinned on all the chat. I hope you guys check it out. Very, very happy with how it turned out on my end, but would love your feedback. We got we got Daytor over over on the Twitch side saying guten evening. Guten Abend to you. Thanks for being here. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening with me as I get ready to, I guess, start streaming. Yeah. What else? What else is going on a Tuesday as we wrap up August? Not much. Today was just another typical day for me. Oh, look who's joining us. We got Kimbap over here. I just fed him and he's already searching for more food as if I'm gonna give it to him. I think I just scared him because I'm putting my hair up. But what can you do? Yo, my hair is getting a little bit too crazy right now. All right. Hair up, headphones on. We're actually ready now. APP said, thanks a ton. Once again, I have work, so I can't stay. No worries. Thanks for being here just to say hi. I appreciate it. Also, first like, he says, yeah, is King Kruk here yet? I don't know. I'll pass your message along. He was here the other stream. He said, APP asks, King, why do you have 5 ZR? Send me one. I'll relay the message. Now I need to go. Thanks for the song. Anytime. Thanks again. All right. So my cats say hello. I say hello. Today we're going to be streaming, let's say 3 to 4 hours, somewhere in that vicinity. But let's also see how productive I can end up being today. So a lot of ifs. But yesterday was a good stream. We did at the end, I was starting to do a bit of review over the different technology that's required to power my own IRL live stream. A lot of the tech is almost ready to go. I think tomorrow I'm going to go to one of the company. There's like a 3D printing shop that I've been working with here in Dubai, who's helping to put together like the custom case, which is one of the things I'll need for when I do the IRL streaming. So I think tomorrow I'm going to go to their office and double check, make sure things are looking good. Otherwise, going to be editing photos today, guys. Wow, shocker. Although I have my DaVinci project opened up just in case, because I mentioned there's a third video I want to work on in partnership with Nikon, right? Because I work with them quite a bit. And in this case, I've been putting together some videos about some of the lenses that I shoot with. And it's like indirectly tied to Nikon, right? Because obviously I'm a Nikon shooter, so everything is featuring Nikon. But for me, it's a broader message I wanted to share about the different learnings, insights that I've gathered from my time shooting with different lenses. So I hope you guys checked out the previous ones. I did a video on the 85mm lens, and then I pushed one out recently about the 35mm lens, what my feedback is in terms of how that's helped me level up as a wildlife photographer, but then also as a filmmaker to understand the art of storytelling. This third one, I haven't really figured it out yet in terms of what is like the key insightful message I want to carry across. But the lens of choice that I want to use for that message is the 135mm lens. So a few streams ago, I'd been working on some of the color grades of these footage that you see in front of you. These are all from my travels. I went on like, I think I went to 5 different countries with the 135 f1.8 Plana lens, and I've got some really cool captures from those travels. So I wanted to intersperse some of this footage with some of the best photos that I captured as well with the 135. And then that will be like the B-roll as you hear my voice narrate my thoughts on the 135. So anyways, I might hop between photo edits and color grading some video just to, you know, keep me from being bored, which is number one most important thing. But also I do want to kind of start grinding through some of it. So yeah, so that's what's on the agenda today. We got some photo edits from Tanzania, and then 135mm captures from around the world. So, and then in between that, I think I have opened up a few YouTube videos, including some more from Phase Adapt Maya Higa. They're currently doing live streams in Alaska. And so I'd mentioned before that we had watched some of their previous streams from last year when they were in South Africa, since they were doing what basically I'd been starting to prep and plan for, which was how can I be a proper IRL live streamer for wildlife related trips, since that's my bread and butter. That's what I focus on. So I think they are currently live, or they also had some videos opened up. So I figure we'll maybe watch some of that as well as I'm editing, so I can keep taking notes about how are they running their stream, what works, what doesn't, yada yada. All right. Any other thoughts I need to carry across? Well, the only other thing I want to quickly do is blow my nose because I'm feeling super congested already. So I was hoping I had my cat in frame so I could just show them while I go blow my nose. I'll be right back for like 30 seconds. Everyone's hard work paid off as we had our best snow leopard sighting of the trip. A mother leopard resting on a cliff with her 2 cubs, enjoying the sunset. We're ready. Man, side note, today is day 196 of me live streaming. Can you imagine that? Almost 200 days of doing these live streams. It's been quite the journey. I gotta figure out how to make a YouTube video about my journey as well, like my learnings and all that. Let's put it on the backlog. Okay, I think I'm ready now. So, we are going to continue editing our photos. Oh, and today we're going to get to start off on one of the coolest shots, in my humble opinion, from the Tanzania trip. It was of these 2 ladies walking on the side of the road, and I just happened to do a drive-by shoot of them. and they just look so badass, especially the one in focus, the main lady. Something about her, the way she, oh wait, hold on, am I not showing my image? The way that she's standing, the way her posture, I don't know what it is, but she has a very commanding presence about her. So, and to be honest, I don't think this really needs much in terms of the way of edits, but because I like to, you know, because I like editing, we're gonna see what we can turn this into. But overall, yeah, these will be the first photos we're gonna work on today. What about YouTube videos? Let's see. So I mentioned we've got we got a video from Phase Adapt. I might save that for later. I might just reserve towards the end of the stream to start reviewing a bit more about live stream technology stuff. Same with this one. This is like the actual live stream. Exposure rule. Great cinematographers don't follow. We got that video. Oh, let me see. What else should I open up here? The Bear. How Jeremy Allen White perfected Carmi Berzato. Man, I do love watching stuff about The Bear. It is still hands down. I mean, it's got to be my favorite drama series. I only brought one lens to Greece. Okay, okay. I do like these types of concepts. So that might be worth... Here, I'm going to open that up. North Star Radio. Why I can no longer support Casey Neistat. Damn, that's a bit provocative. Feeling positive about cinema. Movies are starting to feel like movies again. Meaning animals I've never seen before. Jacksepticeye. Pimped out GoPro mission. Oh, you know what? Let's watch a video on... Oh my god, hold on. I just realized my cat went crazy behind me. Can't trust my cats after I feed them. They just like, every time I give them food and I start the stream, it winds them up to the point where they just kind of run around, break things. Okay, what else? Oh yeah, I was saying I wanted to open up Osmo Pocket 4P. I'm really considering purchasing the 4P, but it's not cheap. So I figure before I do that, let's maybe watch some videos breaking down the 4P. DJI Pocket 4P versus the Insta360 Luna Ultra. Easy decision. Okay, let's see how easy that is. Review by Andy Toe. Andy 2. I like this guy. Oh, we got one from Cam Mackey. All right, let's watch. Let's click on these guys. Okay.
What is going on, folks? In today's video, we will be comparing both the DJI Osmo Pocket 4P and the Luna Ultra. I'm currently filming on both. Can you tell which is which? Now, on to my left side, I'm using the DJI Osmo Pocket 4P, and to the right, the Insta360 Luna Ultra. Now, I've been using both of these cameras for the past weeks for daily vlogging. They're both really great, but they're made for two different creators in mind. Now, this isn't about which one is better, it's about which one is better for you. Now, I'll be
Okay, I like his framing about it. Although sometimes I kind of want people to take a stance, because I tend to be one of those where I fence sit, right? That's the terminology you hear. You're a fence sitter. And I think I kind of fall into that bucket quite a bit in terms of like, you know, this, I don't like to be so strong with my opinions, so I hedge my bets sometimes, if I'm being brutally honest about myself. But generally speaking, I do find myself that I have fairly moderate opinions, right? So speaking of someone, I would be the type of like, you know what, both of them are excellent. It just depends on what you're looking for. I kind of want the spicier takes. Maybe I should also lean into being more spicy and just be like, this one is the best, this one is trash. But anyways, let's see what he says.
filming with both of these cameras throughout this video so that you can see how they keep up when it comes to daily vlogging. Now, by the way, this video isn't sponsored by DJI or Insta360. This is my honest thought that I'll be giving you throughout this video. I'll be mentioning the good stuff, and the bad stuff, what I like, what I don't like, so that you get really an honest review. So
Quick pause as I'm looking at this photo and how I could potentially compose it. Now, technically, this kind of portrait style, it does look fairly balanced. The only issue right now is that the lady that is closer to the camera is blurry, whereas the person in focus is in the background. So to have like even balance with the two subjects when only one is focused, it feels a little bit strange, or something about it feels uncanny. So possibly I might not want to do that. So then the question is, well, if the lady on the right is more in focus, or not more in focus, is in focus, and the other is not, clearly she is the main character. So then giving them equal treatment doesn't necessarily make sense from a framing standpoint. So then I'm considering maybe we want to left align both of them, but then put the lady more towards the center. So that's one current thought. So imagine if this was a 16 by 9. It might be something like this. So there's still kind of, you know, lower, what do you call, rule of thirds, following the rule of thirds, but positioning lady in the center to be more in the center. Hello, Eugen. Thank you very much. Thank you for the sub over on YouTube. I appreciate it. We are slowly building up our community over there. We've officially crossed over the 10,000 sub mark. So that was a cool win. And with your sub, we are one step closer towards making sure we'll never drop below 10,000 ever again. So thank you very much, Eugen. I hope you are enjoying the stream so far. I just started not too long ago. We're just working on our first photo to edit right now. And then we're going to watch a YouTube video here that's reviewing the Osmo Pocket 4P. I guess the video is comparing the 4P against the Luna, the Insta360 version. But I already know that unless the 4P is so terrible, that's the one I'm going to get regardless, because I think I'm bought into DJI as a system. I've already got the Osmo Nano, the Osmo 360, the Action 6. So I would prefer just sticking to one system for all of the action camera related stuff. But anyways, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to keep watching this video. And then before we do that, though, I was sharing my thoughts on how I could potentially compose this image, just because only one of the ladies are in focus. One of the ladies is in focus. One of the ladies are in focus. I think it's the former. One of these ladies is in focus. So I think center aligning may not necessarily be the right answer. So I'm just kind of playing around to see how these different looks could look. And as I'm doing that, again, I mentioned this before, I love repeating myself. It is what it is. When it comes to how I do my photo editing process, usually as one of the first steps and also one of the last steps, it just depends, I like to take the image that I have and play around with the different compositions. So I'm constantly looking at this the navigator thumbnail here to get a general sense of how does this image look like in its entirety, depending on the framing that I'm choosing. And so this just becomes a nice little pulse check to see what is the potential of this image and what are the potential ways to frame the image. I don't have to commit to them necessarily. I'll only commit if I know for a fact there is a winner. Like it has to be done in this aspect ratio. Then I will commit to it. But generally speaking, it's more just so I can start playing around, see if there's something that, you know, triggers the noggin in terms of like, ooh, that's a kind of a interesting framing. So yeah. So anyways, this is kind of what I do in the very beginning step. But in this particular image, I don't think I am going to commit to anything. So most likely we're just going to keep it in its full aspect ratio. And then once we're done with all the color grading, then we'll determine what's the best composition. Sounds cool? All right. My cats also say thank you, Eugen, but they're not here right now. One was freaking out and then knocked over her bed. And then the other one, Kimpap, Nala. Good girl. Good boy. Where are you, Kimpap? Okay. They're both just chilling out of frame. All right, let's keep watching this.
I want to start with the similarities both of these cameras share. So both have a dual lens design, which means you get more focal length options and therefore also more.
And then since I already started breaking this down, I might as well continue. So usually the next step after I look through some of the different framing potentials is I just run my images through my presets. So I don't go through all the presets, but I have a select few that I tend to use the most. And so what I do is I just kind of scroll through the image based on each preset, and it will give me a good idea of a direction I should take. Like for example, with this one, do I want to go with this very dark and saturated look? You know, this one looks very dramatic. It looks very interesting. And sometimes I try to break down my thought process to see if it makes sense artistically or not. For a shot like this, I do feel like the colors need to be very, very accentuated, if not very saturated, because that's kind of the whole story here. You've got these two ladies, and what they're wearing is so distinct. But the thing that about it, and I think this is maybe a cultural thing as well. I don't think it's just Uganda, but I've noticed in some of the countries I've visited, there are such colorful fabric as part of what, is it mostly the women? I think it's mostly the women, but the way they dress, there's so much interesting colors packed into what they wear. And way more than anywhere else in the world that I can think of, I feel like just on the average. So to me, it's such a cool thing to see everyone walking around, and it's just splashes of all kinds of vibrant colors. So with that in mind, I don't think I want to go with like a super monotone or duotone look. I don't think I want to go with the desaturated kind of a feel. It should be fairly poppy in your face. So that's like one of the thoughts I have with this image as of now, but I don't think I want it super dark and dramatic like this one. It has a place for sure, and it could actually end up working for this shot. I'm not sold on it just yet, but as I look through, like for example, this one feels a bit better to me. It's not too dark. It keeps a little bit of a lightness to the shot. The exposure is obviously a bit higher, but you don't lose out on any of the key distinct elements of the two ladies. But I can also see the value of darkening the image like in this example, because you don't want the distraction of what's behind them. You really want the focus just to be on those two. So we'll see. These are just kind of thoughts I'm bouncing around. There's solutions for each of them, obviously. Maybe I want to desaturate the background, maybe reduce the texture in the background while maintaining the texture and the saturation in the subjects. So yeah, we'll see. We got Honyasu in the chat. Honyasu says, the fact that I got a yogurt ad is wild. Why is that? How's it going? Hello there, Honyasu. What's wrong with yogurt? But you're right, I never talk about yogurt. If anything, they should give you ads about, well, now it should be about San Pellegrino, brought to you by Limonada. One of these days we're gonna land ourselves a sponsorship, okay? How's it going, Honyasu? Thanks for being here. Oh yeah, I should also give a quick introduction. I'm Yobel. I go by YobelPrize. I am a wildlife and travel content creator, starting in photography and now shifting more into videography, understanding and learning filmmaking, the art of storytelling, and cinematography. So that's me in a nutshell, as well as doing these live streams where I love to learn how I can talk for 8 hours straight or learn how to be better at public speaking. So might as well kill two birds, as they say. And then usually during these streams, I am editing and I'm editing my photos and videos from my travels. You can see behind the scenes of how I edit. You can also see behind the scenes of some of the upcoming videos that I'm trying to produce for my YouTube channel, as well as just behind the scenes of my life overall. And hopefully I can share it in a way that's more entertaining than you would imagine. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Plus, you can sometimes see my two cats if they decide to join, which as of now they have not. So yeah, thanks again. And then yeah, we're gonna watch this YouTube video about the Osmo Pocket. Honyasa says I won't get the beer ad. Okay. I maybe drink like once a week these days, once every 2 weeks, just with some buddies. All right, I'm thankfully not. I've been blessed to not be. To succumb to physical addictions. No matter what, it doesn't matter if I puff on a few cigarettes. I could chain smoke for like a week straight intentionally, and I won't get physically addicted to it. It could be a bit of hubris. I think at a certain point, I'm sure the nicotine kicks in. But yeah, physical substance I don't really get addicted to. The things I get addicted to are the mental stuff. So for example, right now I'm way too addicted to chess. So every morning I wake up and I play chess.com on my phone, and sometimes I'll play for like 30 minutes to an hour. It's a real bad addiction at this point, but I can admit it. So there's that. Beer ad is banned in Indonesia. Okay, I didn't know that. What? That's crazy. Yo, Honyasu, is Indonesia like a super conservative, super strict country or something? I guess I've never been, so I don't know enough. But damn. Well, I'm sure the world could be better with fewer drinks involved, but you know, like everything in moderation. I really like this swampy shoebill stork. It's very poppy on the subjects, less so on the background, but I think I might start with this one.
Variety of shots in your video, making them more dynamic. Now, both of these cameras feature 3-axis stabilization, so you get smooth footage when shooting handheld. They also both have built-in trackers, so that when you're vlogging,
Honyasu says it's actually easy. Beer is bad. No ad. Okay.
and filming yourself, it keeps you centered in the frame. Now, both of these cameras offer log profiles on the DJI Osmo Pocket 4P that would be D-Log and D-Log 2, and on the Insta360 Luna Ultra that would be I-Log. And by filming in log, it gives you more dynamic range, preserving the details in the highlights and shadows, and gives you more flexibility when color grading. Now, both of these cameras are compact and portable and easy to bring along, and that's how a vlogging camera should be, as you're more likely to bring them with you than something like a DSLR camera that is bulky. Now,
Honyasu
both
says
also support accessories.
cigarette is bad, but you can advertise for that. That's kind of crazy to me. I think cigarettes, I guess beer, I guess alcohol, if you net benefit, I would assume alcohol has done more damage to society than cigarettes. I think so. Because at least with cigarettes, it's usually more about the damage you do to your body and maybe the secondhand smoke aspect of it. But with alcohol, just by drinking it, right, you are reduced. Yeah, like there's more violence caused in the world because of alcohol, I'm sure. So yeah, I guess that makes sense.
To expand your creative options. Both also come with their companion app. The DJI uses the DJI Mimo app, and the Insta360 app. So let's talk about image quality. The Luna Ultra records up to 8K at 30 frames per second or 4K 60 frames per second. The main lens is a
8K 30 or 4K 60. That's pretty impressive. Okay.
millimeter focal length with an f1.8 aperture, giving you up to 14 stops of dynamic range. The Pocket 4P, on the other hand, records a 4K up to 60 frames per second, also has a 20 millimeter focal length but an f2 aperture, and gives you up to 17 stops of dynamic range. Now, with the Luna Ultra being able to shoot in 8K,
okay, hold on. I wish this guy had shared that like as a table, because unfortunately my brain I can't retain all that in this linear fashion. So let me just rewind. So he said 8K. So this one shoots 8K. Osmo Pocket does 4K. Both can do 4K 60. 8K is a bit much. Like I don't necessarily think I ever really need it, especially on a pocket camera. The aim is not to crop in or get like that kind of crazy resolution on it. That's what my main mirrorless cameras are for. So it's not the worst thing to not have 8K, but let me hear the rest of the thing.
At 30 frames per second or 4K 60 frames per second. The main lens is a 20 millimeter focal length with an f1.8 aperture,
okay,
giving you up to 14 stops of dynamic range. The Pocket.
So 20 millimeter 1.8s with 14 stops of light dynamic range. And then I think they said the Pocket was 20 millimeters f2, so not as wide, but it had 17 stops of dynamic range, right?
4P, on the other hand, records a 4K up to 60 frames per second, also has a 20 millimeter focal length but an f2 aperture, and gives you up to 17 stops of dynamic range. Now, with the Luna Ultra being able to shoot in 8K, you're able to crop in without losing much quality, therefore giving you more flexibility for framing. Now, the Luna Ultra has a wider aperture, so that also means that you get more of that background blur. So now we're going to do an on-screen comparison. We're going to compare first the normal 10-bit color profile.
Oh, I had some groceries arrive. Be right back, guys. Everyone's hard work paid off as we had our best snow leopard sighting of the trip. A mother leopard resting on a cliff with her 2 cubs, enjoying the sunset. Winter in Jim Corbett is surreal, to say the least, with mist-covered landscapes adding a magical atmosphere to our early morning game drives. But of course, I came here for the wildlife, so please enjoy my final highlights of India's jungle animals. All right, got some groceries. Trying to be an adult. Let's keep watching.
Now we're going to switch over to their log profile, starting with iLog versus dlog with their conversion LUT applied. Now we're going to switch over to dlog2 versus iLog, also with their conversion LUT applied. Now, from the tests I've done, you can clearly see that dlog2 gives you more dynamic range, really preserving those details in the highlights, especially in more contrasty scenes. I also compared dlog with dlog2. Again, dlog2 clearly offers more dynamic range and holds on to the details in the skies and highlights much.
Okay, I wasn't paying attention. dlog2 does better than what?
Now, from the tests I've done, you can clearly see that dlog2 gives you more dynamic range, really preserving those details in the highlights, especially in more contrasty scenes. I also compared dlog with dlog2. Again, dlog2 clearly offers more dynamic range and holds on to the details in the skies and highlights much better. Now, the trade-off when filming in dlog2 is that you can't use any other focal length than the 1x. You also have to manually set the ISO, even though you're using the auto settings. And the ISO caps at 3200, where...
Okay, I didn't know that. So, oops, I forgot to share my screen again. So the dlog2, which comes with the... so the dlog2, which is the Osmo Pocket 4P, you get the better quality compared to dlog and compared to the Luna. However, you have to have it on a fixed ISO, and you don't get like some of the zoom quality, I guess. Zoom quality, I guess I don't care as much about, but the auto, not being able to shoot an auto ISO would be a little bit of an annoyance, because if there's one thing I've realized, especially when I'm shooting the way I do, I kind of prefer shooting an auto ISO. I showed an example of that in one of my recent YouTube videos, from the Shoebill Stork excursion, where I kind of forgot, but I accidentally shot everything in a fixed ISO. And the moment the sunlight was changing, I'm not monitoring all my action cameras, and they're also in weird locations, like on my shoulder or wherever else. So I can't immediately adjust, the ISO, or I can't like adjust a variable ND on the front of the lens easily. So I think I would need to rely on auto ISO for most of my needs, but yeah, we'll see.
As when using D-Log, you can go all the way up to 6400 ISO. Now, overall, I do find that the Pocket 4P produces a more brighter image, whereas the Luna Ultra is darker and more saturated and contrasty. However, you still have those details in the shadows when you lift them. Now, when filming iLog on the Luna Ultra, you have no LUT preview. So you have no exposure tools or meters to see whether your highlights are blown out or not. Future Bennett here. So Insta360 just came out with a new firmware update. I'm not going to go through all of the updates, but one of the most important ones is color recovery. So now when shooting in iLog, I can enable that so that I can judge the exposure and image overall better. So with that said, let's continue with the video. Now, if you're interested in the colors that you're seeing right now, I do have LUT packs available for iLog, D-Log, and...
Now, one thing interesting about this image I didn't notice before is there is a bit of an interesting complement. No, how do I rephrase that? The colors in the background seems to pair nicely with the colors in the foreground or in the subject. Because you got the blue and the reds in the dress, and then you got the blue and the reds in the buildings, or at least directly behind the subject. So, I don't know, could be nice to maybe retain a bit of the colors there. We'll see.
D-Log 2. It's a one-click solution where you can apply those LUTs without needing a conversion LUT to your flat-looking footage to instantly create a stylized look in your video. On top of that, also my go-to camera settings are included for the Luna Ultra and the Pocket 4P. This way you can set it once and forget and achieve the same results like you're seeing right now in your vlogs. So if you're interested in that, be sure to check out the link in the video description below. So let's talk about their dual lenses. Both of them can zoom up to 12x. So
one thing I like about this, I don't know who this guy is. We'll give him a follow. Bennett Grazier. One thing I like about this guy's video is I like the fact that he's actually filming himself in location, right? Is this Banff? This place looks beautiful. I like that he's filming in location as opposed to my tendencies like, oh, I'll just review this once I get home. So I think that's something I need to lean into a bit more.
1x and 3x being optical zooms, and 6x being lossless zooms, and 12x being digital zoom. So for optical zoom, it actually uses the lenses, so you have no quality loss. Lossless crops in on the sensor, which you also have no loss in detail. And with the digital zoom, that is where you notice quality loss. And for that reason, I usually avoid zooming beyond 6x. Now, zoom while recording is supported on both, allowing you to switch from the main lens to the telelens. Now, for some reason, it might be a lossless zoom on the Luna Ultra as it just shows 2.9x. So I'm not sure why it can't go to 3x. Now, both have a short close focus distance, so you're able to get really close on a subject to capture detailed shots. And when it comes to photos,
I feel like those close-ups, from what I could see on the screen here, the Luna actually looked a bit better.
both shoot at 37 megapixel.
Photos
and the
I
photos
don't care
look great
about.
on both. What's great about the Luna Ultra is that you have built-in film tones, which bakes in the look straight into your photo. This is great if you want something ready to post on Instagram. On the Pocket 4P, the normal image looks great, but you do need to edit it afterwards if you want to create a stylized look. When it comes to slow motion, the Pocket 4 supports up to 4K 240 frames per second, while the Luna Ultra is capped at 4K 120 frames per second. The only thing with the Pocket 4's dedicated slow motion mode is that you can't film in a log format. You're only able to record with the normal color profile. Whereas on the Luna Ultra, you're still able to record 120 frames per second in iLog. Now, the Luna Ultra's 120 frames per second just looks better to me than the Pocket 4 Pro's 240 frames per second. DJI really needs a way to film slow motion in D-Log. It just looks way too over sharpened. Now, the Luna Ultra does support 240 frames per second, however, in 1080p. So when it comes to audio, both have built-in internal mics, and I've been switching between both of them throughout this video. Now, you can also use a wireless mic. The Pocket 4P has the DJI Mic Mini 2, while the Luna Ultra has the Mic Pro, and they connect wirelessly without needing a receiver, so it's quite convenient. Now, the Luna Ultra also has a built-in wind guard, but when vlogging, it's not as effective as it's placed on the other side. Now, the Luna Ultra has a unique feature, which is is the detachable remote controller that I'm using right now. And the great part is that it has a built-in microphone, which means I don't necessarily need to use a wireless mic to record myself from a distance and capture high quality audio. In fact, you're listening to the audio right now coming from the built-in mic on the detachable remote controller. To me, it sounds really good. So here's a quick audio test between the two using their internal mic. So I'm around an arm length away, and this is how it sounds like. No post-processing has been done. I did increase, or I will increase the volume so that you can, hear me a bit more clearly. But other than that, no post-processing has been done. And yeah, let me know which one sounds better to you. Now, to me, I find the Luna Ultra does deliver cleaner audio on their internal mics when it comes to run and gun shooting. And also the remote mic just reduces the need of having to connect or bring a wireless mic with you. When it comes to wireless control, both support it, with the Luna Ultra using the detachable remote controller and the Osmo Pocket 4P, the Osmo Frame Tab. Now, I like the detachable remote controller more because it's part of the Luna Ultra and it's not something I need to carry with me extra like the Osmo Frame Tab. What's also great about this remote controller is that I can turn it on and off. I can switch the camera settings, change profiles, which I can't do with the Osmo Frame Tab. And also with the Osmo Frame Tab, it's usually an extra purchase. It's something you have to, carry with you extra. And
Man, this guy is selling me on the Luna. But like I said, I'm already kind of locked into DJI. So come on DJI. Resell it to me. Why the 4P is what I should get.
also with this one, you also need to carry an extra charger with you, whereas this one, once you attach it to the Luna Ultra, it charges. Also, the Osmo Frame Tab is limited to 10 meters, while the transmission range on the detachable remote controller on the Luna Ultra is 20 meters. One downside to the Luna Ultra is that currently you don't have any support for custom buttons. So if I want to switch to maybe 50 frames per second or another shooting mode, I can't set it, whereas on the Pocket 4P I am able to add custom presets. And in terms of tracking, I've tested both side by side, and I've tested it with the 1x lens and 3x lens, including hiding behind an object and reappearing to see how well these pocket cameras re-identify the subject. So in this first test, I'm using the 1x lens and both cameras respond really well. Even when running back and forth quickly, the tracking kept up without any hiccups. I also hid behind the rock, and when I reappeared, both re-identified me quickly, almost instantly. And honestly, I can't really find a difference between them. Both of their trackers are very advanced and responded really well throughout this test. For this next test, I switched to the 3x lens. I was around 10 meters away. Same story, both nailed it. While tracking was responsive on both, I was out of focus on the Luna Ultra, which I just realized, so I might have to retest that. What's really cool is that both also support multi-person tracking, which is especially great when vlogging. So if you have multiple people in the shot, it will balance out the frame.
I got the, I think I got the color grades done for the most part. Now I just got to figure out the cropping, and then, yeah. So right now I think I'll do one super wide, one maybe IMAX, one port. Yeah, I might turn this into like 2 to 3 different framings. I'm not sure yet. Yeah, let's see.
In terms of battery life, on paper, they both last around 4 hours, but in real world use, I got around 2.5 to 3 hours. They both have around the same battery size. Now, a big difference is the internal storage. The Luna Ultra features 47 gigabytes of internal storage, while the Pocket 4P has 103 gigabyte of storage. Now, both also support micro SD. Now, they both have around the same weight. The Pocket 4P weighs 230 grams, while the Luna Ultra weighs 233 grams. Another thing I noticed is the wired transfer speed. So on the Pocket 4P, you got 800 megabytes per second, whereas the Luna Ultra has 450 megabytes per second. So the big question is, which one is 4P? You got 3 grams. Another thing, and 230 grams, while the Luna Ultra weighs 233 grams. Another thing I noticed is the wired transfer speed. So on the Pocket 4P, you got 800 megabytes per second, whereas the Luna Ultra has 450 megabytes per second. So the big question is, which one should you get? I would say go with the Luna Ultra if you want really creative freedom. It shoots up to 8K, gives you a lot of cropping flexibility, especially the detachable remote controller allows you to control the camera from a distance without needing to bring any accessories with you. And the built-in mic really makes it great to just instantly record good audio quality while still being further away from the camera, not necessarily needing to use a wireless mic. And honestly, it's great to see how Insta360 really removes every friction, allowing us creators to express ourselves more creatively. And this to me makes just capturing day-to-day moments more easy and enjoyable. Now I would say go with the Pocket 4P if you use it for professional work. D-Log 2 gives you that 17 stop of dynamic range and also gives you a more predictable color grading workflow. You can really see that DJI is pushing their image quality and dynamic range to their limits, refining their gimbal and building an ecosystem that's really hard to get away from. Now you really can't go wrong with either of the two. They're both great vlogging cameras for traveling. In the end, it really comes down to your shooting needs and your workflow. Now let me know in the comments which one you would choose. And
Okay, that was pretty good. Seems like the Luna is pretty impressive, but the DJI is what I'm gonna go with still. The D-Log 2 is definitely of interest to me. It's just a question of like how often will I end up using it for my current needs. Like for example, if I end up using it for my upcoming wildlife safari stream, the main function is not that it will be shooting in log unless it could convert nicely. It would be one of the cameras rigged up to the Jeep to show you guys either interior or exterior shots, or technically both. It could be everything. So what would give the best quality for that? I'm not sure yet. Okay, I gotta do some more thoughts. I gotta brainstorm this a bit more. All right, we got Cam Mackey making one. The Pocket 4P replaced my cinema camera. Now, granted, now that we got a bit more information, it sounds like the D-Log 2 is what Cam Mackey is gonna be shooting in. But with all of that in mind, it means I'll be having to shoot in a manual ISO. So not sure yet if that's actually ideal. Ooh, look who decided to join us. I think it's like the second or third stream in a row. Oh wait, no, both my kitties are here. We got Nala hanging out. I didn't even notice she was there. And then we got Kimbap doing his thing. Look at this big boy. I started feeding him a little bit more than usual just because sometimes I feel bad. I put him on a diet. I think he's lost all the weight. I shouldn't technically revert back to overfeeding him, but you know, a little bit doesn't hurt. Isn't that right, big boy? Good boy. Look at that cute face. What a good boy. And then we got Nala doing her thing over there. Good girl. Yes, Nala, can you hear me? Nala. Nala. Good girl. Okay. Anyways, let's keep going. I really like Cam Mackey's choice of soundtracks here. It's super, I don't know, I like it. It's very punchy. It sounds so distinct. I'm actually curious what the song is. Oh, it's from Music Bed. All right.
Every time a rattlesnake sheds its skin for growth, a new segment gets added to its rattle. I understand the very thing that I fear most, just wanting to be left alone. The rattle is simply a defense warning to not be bothered, because a warning that stops a fight, I think, is smarter than the bite itself. Anyways, we're headed to Gallup. Those clay faces inviting blue eyes inside. Take, take, take. It's been taking it all. So come on in, so we survive. We pulled in pretty late, and there was a strange comfort to this place, granted it's cliches. I think it's the comfort knowing I'm on Dene land.
Yo, we got Skull Bazaar. How's it going over on Kickside? Good to see you. It's been a while, I think. We're just doing a bit of photo editing here and then watching some YouTube videos. This one is about the Osmo Pocket 4P because I'm considering maybe purchasing it, although it's not cheap, so I gotta double check if it's worth it. But the thought is maybe I could use this for my upcoming live stream in Kenya when we do the wildlife stuff. Also, we're just hanging out with the cats, so we got full house today. Struggling with the aspect ratio on this one. There's like a few different angles here that I think all could work. We got this like 1.43 full. Then we got a bit more cropped in at 16:5. This one's 1.43 again, the IMAX style. I know I said I don't want to center the image because the lady on the left is not in focus, but something about looking at it, you know, I'm kind of changing my mind when I look at the thumbnail version here. It does feel nice because of how poppy the colors are compared to how muted the background is. So I feel like having it centered could serve a purpose. But yeah, right now I'm just playing around with a bunch of them. I don't know which one will win.
Take a moment to talk about the setup that's making this all possible. As you guys saw in the intro, this is sponsored by Small Rig, but that's because I've been actually using the products on here. So
Skull says, I like the last one better, aligned left. Okay, all right, let me, I think it was this one. Yeah, I'm exploring to see like what happens if I put her on the right. It feels awkward, but because of the blurry, you know, you get a bit of obstruction from, I think this is the car window. Or like, sorry, the car side view mirror. I wonder if that could be an interesting framing because then it kind of splits the image in half and then they show up on the right. But it kind of goes against what you would assume is correct. But you're saying this one is the one you're leaning into more, if I understood. Let me see, yeah. So we got option 1, option 2, centered, option 3 centered in IMAX, and then option 4, 16:9, but left aligned. And I think that's the one you mentioned. So, okay, you know what? Enough playing around, because I'll be here all day. So yeah, I think we'll lock this in as probably our main one. So thank you for your feedback there. And then we got it. So we got our next image. Now technically I have a second image from the same shoot, right? So I spent all this time on this version. And the question is, what about this one? There could be an argument that she looks more commanding here because it looks like she, you know, almost looks like she's pointing, which kind of leans into this feeling of like you are commanding people to do something. However, I think posture-wise, she looks a bit more impressive here. More of her body is showing here anyways. Here, now we're kind of sandwiched in. So these two are kind of squeezing into the same space. So I'm kind of post hoc rationalizing that this one is a better image that I worked with because I'm too lazy and I'm like, you know what, do I really want to spend time editing the next one? Okay, we're going to stick to this one. So we are done with this. We can move on to the next image, which I'm also excited about. So just a quick little recap or context. This was on the drive towards the national park. So this is the first day when I landed in Tanzania. So we finished Uganda, flew into Tanzania, and then we were on our way to, I'm on my way to the safari camp where I was going to be there for about 10 days to teach photography to a number of safari guides. So we're not in wildlife territory just yet. We should probably end up being able to edit a few of the wildlife shots by the end of today's stream. We'll see. But yeah, these are just kind of from the drives themselves. But the cool thing is, now one of the new additions to how I'm able to stream is, where is it? Let me just open it up real quick and show you guys. It's from Tanzania, day 1. Now the cool thing is, and it's funny because we're watching a video about DJI, the Osmo Pocket. This is from my Osmo Nano, but this was like the first trip I was on where I got to actually test out the Osmo Nano and a few other action cameras. So it allows me as a solo content creator to just have a bit more creative flexibility with how I can showcase my trips in a more immersive way. And so you'll see even on my Instagram, I just posted a carousel post on Instagram. Feel free to check it out. And I showcase a little bit behind the scenes of how I capture some of my footage, or in this case, how I capture my photo, including the moment behind the photo. And a lot of that is possible because now I'm using this Osmo Nano, which I hooked up to my hat, so you can get that first person point of view. Skull says, the last attempt, right plus rear view mirror, only made sense to me after you said that that was a mirror. The last attempt, where it was on the right, only made sense. Gotcha. So, which means that it probably isn't the best image, right? If it requires someone to explain the image to you, it's like someone having to explain their joke, right? At that point, it's like, was it really a good joke? So yeah, I appreciate the extra feedback there. So I think that one was like interesting as from a creative perspective, but not necessarily the one I should lean into. So here you can see the behind the scenes of that first image, the dude on the tractor.
Those are big tires.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can find the behind the scenes from my recent photo I just edited. Oh, and this is the one we finished editing the other day. So this is like the lady on the back of the motorbike with the yellow dress. For this trip, I remember the windshield was a lot cleaner. It wasn't even about how clean it was. There wasn't a tint to the windshield, so I was able to more comfortably shoot through the windshield without issues. Whereas in Uganda, the windshield was more tinted. So there's a drastic difference between shooting outside or not. Oh, here's the herd of goats. So that was that photo moment.
And then if I see a nice moment, I'll try to take a photo. And then, yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'll
what? Oh, that was this moment. Nice, we got it. So this is the behind the scenes of those dudes on the weird contraption. So right there is the moment I snapped the photo, which lines up with which image? This one. So that's the actual moment, and then this was the behind the scenes. So it's been really fun that I can actually start combining the behind the scenes with the actual moments. So I'm trying to find the lady now. Oh, there it is, there it is.
yeah.
These two ladies right there. And you can see also how quick these moments are. So like you really have to be on your feet. You just have to be ready. Those moments are literally just split-second decisions, and it's gone. So you see the ladies there. I got to turn on my camera, make sure the settings are correct. Boom, boom, boom. I had time for like 3 photos, and it's gone.
So they go by the color to say which direction.
Yeah, you see blue, you see red.
Like this one is
Like that.
red and blue.
So my driver, I think his name was Amina, or I forget, something like that. He was explaining to me that in Tanzania, they've got these minibuses, which are kind of like the shuttles, the taxis. And so people will hop into the vehicle based on the coloring. It signifies something about, like, you know, which direction it's going or where it's heading towards. So then the next photo I'm about to edit should be coming up here.
That's salsa?
Yeah.
Dollar dollar?
So got some video moments and the photo moments. That is one of the best things about the ZR. I didn't realize how important it was. Howdy, we got Fedorevsky in the chat. How's it going, man? We're just doing some continuation of yesterday's stream, editing some photos from Tanzania. I might switch gears, though, in a second and do some color grading. And so I'm just looking at the behind the scenes for the next photo that I'm going to be editing, which is the back of this minibus. But I was saying it's also cool when we were seeing the videos pop up about the Sony FX5, and it didn't dawn on me until much later, and then someone finally said, like, oh, this only does video, by the way, it doesn't do any photos. And it's like, psh, like, for me, I need both. I am still a hybrid shooter. I don't want to deprive myself of the ability to take photos in key moments and only have to do video. So this is an example of it, right? So I can quickly switch, get some photo and video moments, more bang for your buck, but also, yeah. Oh, and then the next moment here. So this is also another photo I took, right? So let's see how quickly it happened. So I see the vehicle coming from a distance.
What is that?
Get the camera ready.
The sun.
Shooting at 1.2. I'm crazy. And then one of those should be a nice photo. One of those. Is there another moment? No. That's it. Anyway, so then that will turn into this photo right here that we're about to edit. And then the ones we were just looking at would be one of these. All right. Fed says, is that Cam Mackey's video on the 4P? I watched it earlier. It was good. Yeah, I just started it. The only comment I've made so far is that his sound design, his sound mixing, and his soundtrack choice is very excellent. And it's from MusicBed. So I was like, oh, very good, very good. So, but yeah, I really like how he's putting in the soundtracks for this, and it does feel very artsy. So I'm, taking some notes here mentally. And now we're at the part where he finally kind of introduces the Osmo Pocket into the film. So yeah, let's keep watching.
Me just start taking things off so we can start breaking down all the bits that I've been using the most here. So let's start with filters, because I think that's what's going to be most important for a lot of us here. Now, when I'm just making, you know, more vlogging type content, this is where the magnetic NDs come in handy, because I can just quickly, you know, switch back and forth.
Man, this photo is going to be fire because we've got some leading lines here. We've got the road, we've got the lines from the road. We've got these, what are these? Like these little lamp posts or whatever this is. All these poles sticking up, going off into the distance. And the vehicle itself obviously is very, very interesting. So this one's going to be a really fun one. I'm going to keep it in its full format, and then we'll crop these later. Fed says, yeah, he reads some stuff also, which is good. He reads some stuff. What does that mean? I'm curious. But Fed, before you joined, I think, the prior video we were watching, the creator was breaking down the difference between the Luna and, I don't know what it's called, the Luna 360 or Luna 6 something something versus the Osmo Pocket 4P. And it seems like the Luna, if you take the brand away, it might be something I would be more inclined to get. However, the DJI, obviously I'm bought into the system, and it also has the D-Log 2, which is like better color grading, better quality. The only issue I was thinking about is D-Log 2 sounds really good for my needs, but for some of the things I'm going to be shooting with that action camera, I think I'll need it on auto ISO. And D-Log 2, as of now, you have to have it on a fixed ISO. So there's some limitations there. Like, I'm not trying to make a cinematic film with the Osmo Pocket as of now. It's more, my current needs would be for like the live stream. So I'm not sure.
So you can see we have the ND16 and ND256. So that's what I'm going to throw on here. The small rig adapter, you can see it just clips on just like that. From here, I can go and make this a magnetic ND, and they just snap on just like that. And you can see this specific kit comes with 3 different levels of this. We have
the only thing I wish for though is if they had a variable ND version. I'm just a big fan of having those variables. It's a little bit annoying to have to, even actually now with my Osmo Pocket 3, I purchased one of those variable NDs. So you just slap it on there and you can just twist a little thing. And that's just way more handy than having, especially when you think about how tiny these filters are. It's so easy in the moment to drop them, right? Like you try to take it off magnetically, and all it takes is one little nudge in the wrong way, it falls out, and you know, you're on your travels. Good luck. Fed says there is a variable ND. Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's all I need. So, yeah, I'll probably lean into that option. DJI sensors are several generations better than the Luna. Yeah, that's what I'm assuming if you shoot in D-Log 2. But when he was doing a side-by-side comparison of the D-Log versus the Luna... Oh, wait, did he do a side-by-side? I'm not sure. It seems like the Luna, yeah, maybe it's not as good, but it's got more saturation. It's a bit more contrasty. Maybe that's all I need for a live stream. But I'm saying all this knowing that, like I said, I'm committed to getting the DJI products. But, yeah. At least 2 to 3 brands already released variable ones for the 4P, says Fed. All right. Well, okay. Good to know.
ND16, ND64, and ND256. So look how quick this is. Just gotta take this off.
See, he's not really selling it to me, seeing him do this. I'm telling you, man, to have to switch out these little tiny ND filters, you think you have a good grip on it, and then all of a sudden it falls out. Or you got to use 2 hands to do this. I'd rather just put on a variable, set it once, and then all I have to do is twist it. Yeah. Realistically, on my travels, it always ends up being a situation where you only got one hand free. So then to like try to swap out NDs while you're holding onto another camera or you got something else going on. Those are the things that they don't show you in these types of review videos properly, because it's more of like you have to be in the field properly to do this, you know? He is in the field, but he's kind of in a staged environment where he's like filming specifically of him changing the things. Doesn't matter, says Fed. The Luna has forced noise reduction because those sensors they use are incredibly noisy. Gotcha. DJI, you can turn off all the noise reduction if you want. There's no comparison really. Well, thank you for being the voice of reason and encouragement, getting me back on the DJI bandwagon.
Slap that one on. There it goes. Put this one back away here. All right, so we're in D-Log 2. I need as much dynamic range as possible because we're gonna backlight most of this. And so you guys can finally see through this damn windshield. Because a lot of times when I'm doing these shots, you can't even see through the windshield and I'm gonna have to do power.
But yeah, the comparison of the HDR, or the dynamic range of the D-Log 2, it seemed very impressive. Like, what did they say? It was like 17 stops of dynamic range. But at least comparing to the Luna and also comparing to the D-Log, you can definitely see it was retaining a lot more information in the sky. Fed says when he gets done playing with the ND, it gets a lot better. Okay.
Windows and DaVinci to try and make it work. We're finally going to pair up the polarizer filter. This is gonna cut through the reflection on the windshield. I've been needing this for a long time now. Oy! So literally just stacks on top of the ND. So I'm gonna correct you guys here. So you guys will see, as I spin this polarizer, it'll start cutting through those reflections. So this is at minimum. Now I'm just gonna spin it. Gimbal's gonna shake a little bit. And there you go. Now it's cutting through the windshield. So now when I'm inside of there, you guys should be able to see me without any reflections. Look at that. Obviously there's
That is pretty cool.
you guys here. So you guys
Well, I think even just the dynamic range is really impressive on this. Fed says, yeah, 16 stops in SNR2 tested. You'll see it in this video later. Gotcha.
will see, as I spin this polarizer, it'll start cutting through those reflections. So this is at minimum. Now I'm just gonna spin it. Gimbal's gonna shake a little bit. And there you go. Now it's cutting through the windshield. So now when I'm inside of there, you guys should be able to see me without any reflections. Look at that. Obviously there's a big old flare in there right now, but.
Okay, so now imagine, instead of this shot, imagine this is pointing at the interior of a Jeep, a Toyota 4x4 Land Cruiser in Kenya, and sitting on the right or left is yours truly, and then Swiss Army Cinema hopped in the seat next to me, or the driver, or whatever. Imagine, this is what we're gonna get. If only it could be this quality, because obviously it'll be in a live stream format. But if I could also record offline, which I should be able to on the Rodecaster, then we can make some proper YouTube videos out of this as well.
All right, guys, so I'm in the new FPV mode. It's the fourth gimbal option. This mode is made to wherever the screen is facing. If you have the gimbal facing the same way, it's gonna try to hold the center a lot stronger. It's not a true gimbal lock mode. I think we can still really use that DJI, please, if you can make that. But anyways, I need to film the shot and stop talking. I was feeling a little overwhelmed with all the possibilities of shooting in this town, and so I figured I'd just strap the Nano to my chest while I hunted down some coffee in downtown Gallup.
Well, I guess I ain't welcome back to my home anymore. I took a wrong right turn to that other girl's house next door. Now I guess I ain't.
I still don't know the first thing about film cameras. Actually, Fed, I don't know if you were here when I was having, I had this brain, we'll call it a, I don't know if it's really a brain fart, but I just couldn't understand, I couldn't wrap my head around how does film camera work, where if you're shooting with a film camera, don't you have to get the film developed? And then once you have it developed, how does one then digitally edit the photo? Because we were watching a video from Peter McKinnon where he took some kind of film camera out through New York City, and then he was at his studio editing his photos in Lightroom or somewhere, I don't know what program. And I just couldn't, for whatever reason, wrap my head around how do you do that? Like if you shot on a film and then you get it developed physically, then does that shot get scanned afterwards such that you then have a digital copy of the film shot and then you just edit off of that? Yeah, anyways, I couldn't wrap my head around. Cyrenis, hey, what's going on? Cyrenis says negatives are scanned and digitized. Okay, so that is what they do. I don't know why, but something about that felt weird to me. It's like, okay, so you take the film, because I thought in my mind when people were doing film camera, they were doing that because they wanted to replicate the entire process from back in the day. Or like, I thought my assumption was the original way to shoot with film cameras was that the image gets fully developed in one of those red rooms, and that's it. Like there was no, obviously at the time there was no like digital processing. So like I thought that's why people are doing film cameras, so that they can replicate that vintage, old school workflow. But then once I saw him editing like a digital version, then like my brain just stopped working and I couldn't understand that. Anyways, that's on me. How's it going, Cyrone? It's good to see you on here. My cats say hello. They're both hanging out with me today yet again. Or at least, no, Kimbap was here last time. Nala, she's here finally. Fed says, it looks very fragile, and I would put a Pocket 4P on a stick and do crane shots and all sorts of wild stuff. You can't have loose parts when using it like that. Yeah, if we do the Pocket 4 on the front hood of the Jeep, I would have to use one of those proper suction. Actually, Swiss said he has one, so that's kind of cool, assuming it can work with the Osmo Pocket 4P. But then, yeah, we could attach the 4P onto one of those suction mounts on the hood of the vehicle. Cam shot a lot of film here, and he grades his 4P footage to look like them. Gotcha. Fed says, did I read this? No. Another reason I would never want the Luna is the reason many love it. That detachable screen module. I would never want a camera with a detachable part like that. What if you break that part? You know what? That's a really good point. I didn't think about that. Because when I saw that, I was one of those that was like, wait, that's kind of interesting, because they were talking about how it's got a microphone feature on it. So I was like, oh, I guess you could actually speak to that tiny part and remote control it. But you bring up a really, really good point. If that thing falls off, or if you break it when it's removed, how does one then, you're kind of out of luck. Yeah, that's a good point. Man, my chat, you guys, we got some smart people in here thinking beyond surface level. Fed says Cam uses the digital suction mount later in this video. Okay, let's keep watching. I like the sound effect of that film camera. Loose parts is a bad idea on a camera like this. So am I to believe all of these, every video I'm seeing here, every video clip was shot with the Osmo Pocket 4P? Let's see. Oh, I got a sub zoom on this channel. Small rig accessories. Join me on the road as my dog and I take a photo trip to Gallup, New Mexico. All filmed on the DJI Pocket 4P. Chest-mounted POV shots were the DJI Osmo Nano, and the shots following, shot showing the small rig was the Sony A7 IV. Okay. Gotcha.
I'm running out of time. I skipped ahead 2 rolls because I came here for one thing. This is why I'm still filming on the 4P, because I wanted to chase down that sun with 0 distractions. I began to panic a little bit because the 2 rolls I shot before this, I pretty much covered the whole town. And I knew I still had to pick up shots on the 4P, so I was just hand-holding it while I was rushing around town. I thought my night was about to be ruined, but things started to slowly come together.
I really have to say, man, his it's stylized so well, but the soundtracks are really, really good. I'm gonna bookmark this for future. Let's see, inspiration, vlogs, cinematic moments. I forget which one. Just put under vlogs. Fed says Sony is only at the start when he was fiddling with the NDs. He shot 90% on the 4P. Only when he's shooting the 4P using it, it's the Nano. That's pretty impressive. This is so this is the 4P shot in super low light environment. That's not bad at all. Cyrone says weird ass music. I mean, I don't disagree, man, but I think I like weird. It's also just, I think the thing I'm impressed by is it's different. You know what I mean? Like when I think about how would I put together a YouTube video or like a whatever, and not that I'm knocking my choice of soundtracks. I mean, I think I have a good ear for music, but this feels a lot more experimental, but in a way that works. You know, as he's going for a certain vibe. It's very moody tones. It's very catchy in a way that feels unique. It's not like a typical cinematic soundtrack, you know, ambient, you know, rolling whatever feels to it. This is like a, yeah, it's distinct. I like it. And it's weird. Very weird. Fed says, look at the sun through the clouds here. Oh, I missed the shot from earlier. No, I saw the shot, but yeah, nice dynamic range even when adding tons of contrast. So wait, is that, so, hold on. Where'd it go? Fetz is pretty sure you can use auto ISO and no, unless it changed. The video we just saw prior to this mentioned that the D-Log 2, you can, one of the limitations is that you have to have it in a manual ISO. I think it's just auto shutter and other stuff that gets locked off, which makes sense. Yeah, I guess I'll double check after this video, but that's what the dude in the video had said, unless I fully missed the mark. Maybe I gotta open up my ears a bit better. I still can't wrap my head around. So that's the process. You shoot with film cameras, you scan the negatives, and then you work off of that on your computer. And I'm not even like I'm not saying this in a positive or negative way. I just didn't know that's like what some of these modern photographers do with film camera stuff. It's kind of nice. You mix in digital with physical, or digital with analog. Most videos Fed says most videos I see don't seem to understand the camera and operating off old firmware. I was gonna say, yeah, it could just be a firmware thing anyways, or maybe it was a, yeah, we'll see.
So I actually just keep the small rig cage on here. Because you can do the brackets where the Pocket 4P goes straight into it. But I like this because I hate having to take this cage off because I use it so much. So we have a little 1/4-20 on the bottom magnetic piece. So I'm just gonna
Who's filming this? Is it his dog? I think he just said it was just him and his dog just traveling, right? I'm just, right now, literally, just where the way my mind works, I'm just imagining his dog is filming him for this moment.
screw that in. I'm gonna show you guys why I like doing it this way too. One, it gives the steady arm a little bit more weight, which personally I think the arm can use.
Wait, let's think about that. How would that have been possible? I'm assuming if he had his Osmo Nano and he could hook it onto his dog's, somehow like maybe put it on, like make his dog, I'm imagining a golden retriever right now. It would be a golden retriever wearing a hat, and on the front of the hat was the Osmo Nano. And then it's such a patient dog and a very well-trained one, so he just had the dog sit there, and the dog's just staring at him as he's recording. That would actually be so hilarious if he were to be able to do that. Fed says they do that when shooting film also, Yobel, edit and grade digitally. They've been doing that since the mid-90s. Well, it goes to show how little I know. Fed says, I think that's the Nano or the Sony. Probably the Nano, yeah. It's good quality.
Since it's on the swivel magnetic mount, we could do this. And then the
What is
screen,
this?
you could basically tilt the screen so you can see it better. When you're at a standstill, you want to make sure this arm's straight. That's when you know you're holding it right.
Okay.
And then from there, you guys can see, this is basically turns the Pocket 4P
Wait, what is this thing he's holding? Is this some kind of gimbal thing?
into a mini DJI run in 4D, which I own. Jaguar's used my a lot on different shoots. This is sick. Now, before we go over the cage, let me show you guys where I'm storing all this stuff currently. This is also a small rig little case here.
You see his dog later, not a golden retriever. All right, well, visuals shattered.
The NDs, I just slide right into that spot over there. From here, I have the wide angle adapter, annoying proprietary charging cables. And then down under here, I have all my loose accessories. So this might be one of my most favorite accessories that I've used. So let me just throw the Pocket 4P in here real quick. Clips in right there. Obviously, you guys can see we have ports all over the cage. 1/4-20 ports and RE locating pins on here. The back is magnetic. Where I'm out filming and I find like a metal pour or something,
That's
I
great.
just connect
That's
it straight via here. And it's that easy. But this also folds down. Look at this.
Ooh, snap.
The legs break down and it becomes a proper little tripod. And then when they're closed back down, they become an Arca Swiss plate. This is literally
Wow.
like a Swiss Army knife for the Pocket 4P.
Man, that D-Log too is good ass quality. My goodness. Fed says that's a 4-axis gimbal arm for that wobble you get up and down when walking. Man, I'm about to have to spend some money. Fed says if you want to walk more freely and get a glide motion, it's like $100 though or more, so it's a bit overkill unless you really plan to walk a lot and need it to glide. Well, I am planning to, well, let's say this live stream test goes well with the IRL stuff. Then the hope is that it's not just for the crazy rigging up a Jeep type moments, but it's also like the walking moments, whether I'm visiting a new city and I want to stream while I'm walking around, or even in the camp, or visiting a village and being able to kind of stream a bit easier, not necessarily always having to live stream with the mirrorless camera and all that kind of stuff. So in those cases, that's where the Pocket obviously shines, especially if I hook it up to my backpack strap. So then I can just put it as a shoulder mount, and so I could technically be hands-free or still end up shooting with my mirrorless and then just have that. For that solution, I don't need that gimbal, 4-axis gimbal arm. But if I'm trying to do a bit more selfie style, it could be useful. I don't know. The things I need the most right now is stabilization for a vehicle. So like the suction arm or the suction mount kind of a thing. And then the typical stuff where it's like I need a strap in my backpack. And so I would assume I want the same kind of functionality, but that tends to be a fairly easy or like a simple accessory for that. If you plan to film yourself walking, the wobble is not important. It just looks natural. Yeah, and I've never had issues. I've never needed an additional accessory when I was filming with the Pocket 3 on my travels. The stabilization built in is already pretty damn good, so no issues there. So it might be excessive, but we'll see. Okay, I will say here, the soundtrack doesn't feel like it fits the moment as much as in the other parts. This feels a little bit too dramatic and like adrenaline buildup for not a very adrenaline-filled moment. Fed says the thing is a $10 selfie stick, looks like a crane. Yeah, exactly. I don't think I need some of the crazy stuff. But the thing he was just showing that turns into a little stand or a Swiss Arca plate, blah, 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 that sounds quite useful. pretty good tracking. He's really far away too. It's pretty impressive. Fed says, yeah, the small rig cage that doubles as a stand, an Arca plate, and a magnet is a must-have for sure. That's just kind of, come on. That's fantastic. I like small rig a lot. I just wish they didn't freaking ruin the ZR cage. Or it's not that they ruined it. I just wish they dropped the ball with the ZR cage. I think that goes without saying. But otherwise, I'm like, yo, I mean, I use small rig for everything. I really do think they're fantastic. Now, the tilted cage has been freaking beautiful, so don't get me wrong. But it's also pricier, you know, so it's like the good with the bad. Fed says it tracks you much further away than that. Try 200 meters and more as long as it sees you.
Sedona is kind of gung-ho when it comes to exploring things, which is an issue because she loves snakes. Not all snakes are bad. I don't think this shot's gonna work out. This intro shot that you guys are seeing, I actually had the Pocket 4P just mounted via suction cup, not even the stabilizer arm. I've been dying to use this on this trip, but we have just been running around.
Yet again, it's reminding me how much value there could be if I moved back to the States. Because, like, you know, it'd be not that they would pay attention to, you know, little old me, but at some point, you know, you'd be able to be like, yo, you want to collab? But I said this before. Maybe I just need to spend some time finding other YouTubers in Dubai. There must be plenty. I'm just not properly searching. Fed says Robert Wong tested all the modes to the limits in his hour-long test of the camera he did. That one is just testing stuff like that. And that was done before all the firmware updates. You can use D-Log in all the slow-mo modes now. Ooh, all right.
Non-stop. Only got 4 hours of sleep last night, so ignore the eye bags. Yeah, this is Small Rig's electronic suction cup. You can slightly hear it. I'm just gonna...
Ooh, okay.
It just did it by itself. That's pretty insane. All right, I'm gonna put you guys on here now. And you can see, I'm just gonna use the freaking Small Rig cage you guys saw earlier.
Oh,
and I'm just
buddy.
gonna screw it on. Also, you should probably use the safety cable as well. The Bronco's made to be able to rig stuff like this. I'm not gonna use it though, because I'm just going up and down the street, and I've already dropped the Pocket 4P several times on this trip, so whatever. And here you guys go. You can see a little Small Rig electronic suction cup, just directly mounted.
Well, so let's say I bring the Pocket 4P, use this suction cup, then even there I can, you know, once I'm in Kenya and we're testing it on a freaking bumpy vehicle, now that's like a real test, you know what I mean? So making a YouTube video showing the behind the scenes of, like, we got to test this out during these like wildlife live streams, that in and of itself could be some useful YouTube video content. So yeah, we'll put it through the ringer.
It into that Pocket 4P cage, polarizer and ND on there. Pretty simple. We are really spoiled.
Actually, that just made me think, I'm gonna take a note to myself that maybe I should reach out to Small Rig. Right? If I reach out to Small Rig about testing suction mount for Pocket 4P. It doesn't hurt to ask, and I'm really bad at that, so. But can you imagine there's a world where Small Rig would be like, hey, we'll give you the suction mount for free, and then I'll be able to test it live on the live stream and then make a YouTube video afterwards. And, you know, hopefully enough people view it that they'll be like, oh, it's worth, you know, partnering. In theory, it would be a really interesting test. Because then if I can show that you can literally rig it up to a vehicle that's going on a bumpy road, because they call it an African massage for a reason. When you're on these like wildlife safari Jeeps, you're rocking up and down, you know, it's not like you're on pavement or like paved roads ever. So if it can survive that test, then you don't need any other test. It's like, okay, you know, sold. And then I can even test it in Dubai for like some dune bashing, you know, just put it on there. Although that would be really risky if it falls off. But, you know, you still get regular DR. What is DR? Similar to the ZR in D-Log. DaVinci Resolve. DR. You still get regular DR, similar to the ZR in D-Log. So it's not like that mode is bad or anything. It's just the D-Log 2 is amazing. Even he films himself in the dog now with the suction. Okay, let's keep watching. Everyone are doing these videos with the 4P and the small rig stuff the last few days, so they're definitely sending out stuff right now. Oh my god, dynamic range. Obviously, I should have known that.
It's kind of crazy how we can get such image quality out of this. Like, this doesn't even look serious. Okay, trying to get more photos though. Shot of the whole trip here. I don't think we're gonna run into anything else we're shooting on the way back. We're about to get into Phoenix. One of the reasons I wanted to stop in this area is I used to, in my mid-20s, take a lot of solo motorcycle trips on my Triumph, and this was one of my most favorite roads to ride on. I just love it because all the saguaro cactuses is just, it's like a freaking forest of saguaro cactus. Kind of reminds me of my reservation.
Man, saguaro cactus. He's like in my backyard where I used to grow up. See, I can connect with Cam, be like, hey, it seems like you lived, I grew up in the Southwest as well. He even named his dog Sedona, which is, you know, I've been there so many times. Cyroni says, I've been semi-AFK. Any thoughts on the message I sent back on Discord? I have zero thoughts because I don't think I saw it. Let me check it out now. Fed says the regular D-Log still has several stops better dynamic range than the Pocket 3, and you have been using that without any issues. Yeah, I mean, I know it's going to be an improvement for sure. Hold on.
All right, and that's it. Absolutely loved the Leica M7. Aperture priority again for especially a trip like this. I'm trying to film myself dealing with Sedona.
Is he Native American? I feel like he was saying he grew up in a reservation or something. Cyronius, let me see. So you said you wouldn't recommend the thing that that one of the other products it overheats. The iNet isn't actually bad for the powering and all that. I think it's a bit heavier though in some things to that extent. And then you sent me a link. Oh, and then I missed your entire bigger message. I thought that was me. So Starlink fixed to the Jeep, unless I'm going off trail. Yep, I agree on that. Hold on, let me pause this. Yo, what's going on, King? We got King Crook in the house saying on some Schiller mood. Well, I'm pro shilling. Or no, I'm pre-shilling because we don't have any relationship with Small Rig yet or DJI. So I'm you know, softening the landing a bit, if so to speak, assuming they will bite. How's it going, King? We had a chat from Average Profile Picture, Average PP, earlier, was asking if you were here, King Crook. Because he was asking, why do you have 5 Nikon ZRs, and are you willing to donate one of them to him? So I'm just passing along the message. Okay, hold on. So Cyrus, speaking of the live stream stuff, so you were saying it could be like the Starlink is fixed to the Jeep, unless we're going off the trail. Well, I mean, we're basically always going to be off trail, so to speak. But the Starlink will always be attached. during the game drives. Wi-Fi of the Starlink is probably pretty localized since it doesn't have a large antenna. I have no idea, but yeah, I imagine it wouldn't travel too far. But then again, when we were looking at that phase, when we were looking at the Adapt Maya Higa live stream from the other day, they had a Starlink on a tripod and it was all the way down the valley, right? They were pretty far away from it. And so my assumption is that it was working, right? Unless they were off of it for some of those moments. So my assumption is the Starlink does actually have a pretty decent range, unless they're using like a bigger, actually the thing that they were showing, it might have been bigger than a mini. So that is true. Stronger signal will be the hardline Ethernet connection. Yeah, so the ideal is like we're gonna have the Starlink on the roof of the Jeep, and then Ethernet ports directly into the Bella box, most likely. And then if we had a second Starlink, maybe that one would be connected via just Wi-Fi, because I don't know if the Bella box. You've explained this already like 1,000 times, and I keep forgetting. But Cyrus is big open space though, no trees and all that. Yeah, for the most part, we should be out in the open. There might be moments where we're cutting through some forested area, but I kind of doubt that, or at the very least, we'll plan against it. We control the direction or like the drives. This guy breaks down some nice to haves with the Starlink Mini. Okay, so that might be worth watching later. He said the ZTE 60 is probably just a bit more capable than a cell phone in terms of getting 5G connectivity. So, okay. So it'd be better than a cell phone. So I should definitely put one of the SIMs in there. But then it has a smaller antenna footprint compared to the Starlink. Yeah, so it's always going to be a backup. And then the area that we were deliberating was like, what if I step out of the car to like visit a village? Could I step away far enough from the Starlink as long as I have the Bella box with the travel router? Would it still be okay? But it can do Wi-Fi 7 versus Starlink Wi-Fi 5. I don't know what the difference is between a 7 and a 5. I'll assume it's significant. ZTE also is good for walking around town since it's pocket size. Yeah, I think that's like one of the cool features of that. If your third option is just to have a cell phone with a travel SIM and set to hotspot, it'll just be the tertiary connection. Yeah, so then it would be like Starlink priority 1, ZTE travel router priority 1B/2. So 1B in the sense that if I walk away from the Starlink for a bit more mobility, then yes, that becomes the primary source. If we're in a rigged up location with the Starlink, then obviously it's a fallback. And then priority 3 would be the SIM hooked up to a cell phone. Yeah. For hotspot. So for my own use case, so you would probably keep the Starlink as a very dedicated connection. Yeah, so then we'd hook up the Starlink directly to the Bella box. Then the chat phone or tablet that can keep tabs. Oh yeah, so that was the other thing. I was chatting with Swiss about maybe we'll need like a separate iPad to be able to view things. Or maybe, I don't know if I can just, I think I saw a Phase Adapt in the past. Obviously they have their cell phones, they have the phone on their wrist for the chat monitoring, but then they also, in the South Africa trip, they had the, like some kind of Atomos looking external monitor rigged up to the Jeep so that they could see all the camera angles. So I don't know if you could do the camera angles plus something else, or if an iPad is better, I'm not sure. They sell all the accessories already, but the camera's missing in the action, says Fed. You want a Pocket 4P to play around with, gotcha. Well, the good news is the 4P is available in my area. So I did reach out to one of the local suppliers that I've worked with in the past. Fingers crossed that at the very least, hopefully I can get a discount on it. And then maybe there's some way that I could pitch some kind of collaboration so that I can save some money while shilling the proper way, as King mentioned. So you're saying that, okay, if you need to have additional wired connections, the Unify Flex Mini, hold on, let's look into this. Unify Flex Mini. Okay. So you're saying if I need to, for instance, hook up the second Starlink, for example, this becomes like an intermediary thing, like this. So it goes Bella box to this Unify Flex Mini, And from there, I would hook up the Ethernets to this thing. So it's like a middleman, a middle layer. I don't know. Either way, thank you very much for this information. All of it sounds, I think we're on the same page. The link is right there, my guy. Wait, which link? Oh, did should I have opened it? I was just visualizing it. Hold on. Whoops. Should I click on it? Fine. I mean, I got the picture. Actually, I have one of these. Or I don't have this product. But I bought one of these things for my mini PC so I could hook up a bunch of Ethernets to it. I wonder if it's similar products. Because I have like 3 Ethernets plugged into this thing. It's got a loop prevention and everything. So you know what? I'll after the stream, I'll see if I can send it to you. But I think I have a similar product to this. Maybe not as good quality for all we know, but it has a similar concept where I could hook up several Ethernets ports. Link in the chat message. This is what's called a switch. It can expand a single network input into 4 additional ones. Yeah, I think I have one of these. Hold on. You sent something in the chat. Okay, I'm not sure if I have the link that you're talking about. You had sent a link for the USB-C to DC. USB-C to DC. And what did you say this is used for? Oh, to power the travel router. Gotcha. Okay. Well, I might have missed one of your messages, Cyronius, because I don't see a link. Oh, okay. I see it now. Got it. Oh, yeah. So this is the same thing. You had said if you need to have additional wired connections, the Unify Flex Mini can't be beat. I do have one new in the box, by the way. You could plug the Starlink into this and get 4 additional wired connections. Just need some Type-C. That would power the Geo. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. Interesting. My goodness. I'm so excited for this IRL test. There's so many things that's going to go wrong. And Cyronius, it's obviously very clear anytime you hear me speak about any topic, to be fair, but especially with all this tech stuff, I have no idea what's going on. I'm just kind of one of those, you know, can I hit this button and then things will just work? If I will it into existence, can I just think about it working and it should? And that's kind of like my mentality. So you can imagine nothing and everything will break. Who knows? Let me just hide this so the focus goes on my cat's face. Good boy. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. It's going to be fun seeing you trying out this stuff live. I think so too. And thankfully, you know, it'd be great, Cyrus, if, you know, it'd be cool if you were out here as well, of course. But thankfully, we'll have Swiss Army Cinema joining. It sounds like we're in agreement with the dates and everything. As of now, you know, it seems locked in. But he's also a techno wizard, levels beyond anything I can understand. So between the two of us, I'm hoping we should be able to run this properly, right? Like all things considered, it's complicated, but also not. It's more just, will the devices, I guess the biggest concern now is we know that the tech should work on paper and also in practice from some of the other streamers that we see. The area of concern will be when you're out in, let's say, Kenya doing a game drive where it's going to be dusty, very hot, perhaps. I'm not sure actually what the weather will be like, but at the very least dusty and bumpy and maybe hot. Will there be any concerns about overheating? Will there be any concerns about malfunctions just from things, you know, loose wires, loose something from the ruggedness of it all? It's not like we're setting up a stream in a fixed studio in the middle of nowhere where we don't have to worry about anything going wrong after that. So it's like, you know, those are the things that I think are outside of my control, but you should always plan as much as possible. All right. Siren says, you truly have to understand what this all does or have someone with you that does. Yeah, this is like, I'm assuming you must be laughing every time we talk about this, Ironius, because like the level of ambition that is in, like what I'm trying to do is not like the most ambitious thing, but it is to be the first time I do an IRL stream. You know what I mean? It's in the same way that the first tattoo I got ended up being like a 7-hour tattoo session across my entire upper back, right? It's like, okay, it's a little bit like you're going off the deep end for your very first time doing something. And it's no different, I guess, when I first tested out live streaming, right? Instead of just testing it in one platform, I was like, let me try to multi-stream on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick, and just boom, deep end. So in the same vein, I guess that's how I'm treating this kind of IRL streaming. It's like we're going way off the deep end. Hopefully I will be able to test out the IRL stuff from home a little bit. So I think the thought process here is, and obviously Sirenus will chat about this off stream, but hopefully if I'm able to, let's say we're at the end of August, let's say at the start, like the first couple weeks of September, if I were to say, get the Bella box in Dubai, get, obviously I have at least one of my cameras here. I've got the Rodecaster. So if I have some of those things minus, let's say, the Starlink, if I'm at the very least able to just like even right here, turn on the stream, but connecting to cell connection and then, you know, running it through, like, you know, this is where I'll need so much of your help, Sirenix, but figuring out, can I do some dry runs from my home here? That will be step one. And we'll be spending part of September doing those tests. Then step 2-ish would be, can I go in a moving vehicle? So then it'd be the same thing, but just go outside the house and then maybe just do a bit of a road trip with a buddy of mine, you know, just drive off, see if the stream can handle that. And it should, I'm assuming, but at least doing the next test. Then we'll be like, all right, now we're heading off. And then ideally I have, unless I mentioned the whole Ebola situation and hopefully the travel restrictions will be loosened by this time. But as of now, I'm supposed to be taking the couple with me to Uganda in October. So then the thought was, assuming that trip still is in place, maybe I'll travel a few days before the start of that trip and just bring all the bare bones of the IRL kit and then do a test IRL stream in the swamp, right? Because that's like the first location I can think of that would be very interesting, where I can take you guys with me when I'm on these boats, because it's not too far from civilization. So then you can actually see the boat ride across the lake as we hop into one of those wooden boats. And then as we're getting deep into the swamp, searching for the shoebill, technically that would be a really interesting test to see, can I actually go live and show you guys with just the cell connection. And then when we see the shoebill, then hopefully I should be able to switch over to my big camera, and then you guys see me take the shots. That would actually be the best beta test, I guess, before the quote unquote pilot, right? But that's kind of the progression I can see. Beginning September, have the units in front of me, start to build out the OBS, build out the software connections, the streamer bots, see if there's interference with the Rodecaster or the wireless, blah, blah, blah. Then in October, bring some of that with me to Uganda, do an actual proper like live stream in one location and see what works, what doesn't, and then come back end of October, mid to end of October, back to Dubai, collect my thoughts, see what works, adjustments. Then November, game time. Close to the beginning of November is then when it's currently planned to go out to Kenya. And yeah, I guess we'll see if everything works. So I think like on paper, timeline wise, we have the time, we have the spacing to make any corrections as needed, but time also flies, so I got to be careful about that. So even still, says Cyronius, there's still limits to all the hardware. Yeah. And all it takes is a faulty unit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Some things are definitely out of your control, so I'm definitely thinking through all the fallback steps. Like, what happens if the Rodecaster is damaged? Well, thankfully, Swiss was talking about, he actually invested in one of those YOLO boxes, which was one of the things we researched in the past. So that could be a nice fallback just in case. What if like I don't know, if the Starlink goes down? Well, okay, thankfully we got some backups, it looks like. And then also, we can always rely on just the Bella box with the travel router. What if the router breaks? I don't know. So it's like all those things for sure that kind of keeps me up at night. But exciting. It's very exciting. And if it works out, guys, I'm hoping you guys will enjoy the stream, obviously. And then the hope is that we can continue this, right? We'll do more of these tests. I'll feel more comfortable. I can reach out to certain brands a bit more confidently. And maybe this becomes like a recurring thing where we can go on more international trips intentionally for these kind of live concepts. So anyways, I'm yapping. We still haven't finished this first video here. Oh no, second video. Cam, Mackie, what you got for us?
You know, chasing down light and everything, and just kind of, you know, going on an adventure and exploring. Having aperture priority, it's just insane. Like literally, you pull it up. If it's overexposed, it shows you the shutter speed that you're using as well. And if it's blinking over 1,000, I just close it down real quick. Or if it's like 1/30th, I'm like, oh, that's probably gonna be shaky, so let me open it up real quick. Absolutely, it's an amazing workflow for this more run and gun type of shooting. So love it. I didn't think I was gonna love it this much, honestly. We're going home.
Cool stuff. All right, shout out to Cam, Mr. Mackie. I swear, I think he was one of the people that reached out to me just to say some kind words after that first short film that I made. Maybe I'm mixing him up with some other people, but either way, I think it was him, so I do appreciate. Let's imagine I made up this entire story. In my head, I'm very grateful for him being so kind, and it might not even have happened. It is what it is. I only brought one lens to Greece. Oh, okay. I think this is a good time to maybe watch a bit of this. So, are they still live? Oh, okay. So this is straight up live. The phase adapt. Let me turn down the volume. No way. Are they doing bear? Oh, I'm so jealous because I haven't been to Alaska yet. And one of the things, obviously, that people go there for wildlife photography is to photograph the bears. And I have a feeling that's what they're doing, because she's also wearing one of those like fishing, what do you call those, like uniforms? But it's the stuff that people wear when they're going fishing in the river. And I feel like you oftentimes see that coinciding with like people searching for the bears. Wait, is that a bear in the background? Actually, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
So they do this thing called delayed implantation, and I don't even know if that is what makes this possible, but the mating season's in the spring.
Sirenis' coveralls, gotcha. You were right, no auto ISO for D-Log 2. Well, technically I wasn't right. It was the streamer or the YouTuber we were watching. Fed says, I look forward to seeing Swizz bring a helicopter drone that can lift your Safari Jeep over the clouds. Yeah. Yeah, that would be impressive. Yo, they're doing the thing I would love to do, which is like photograph bears, and it's always terrifying. And I want to go to Alaska for this.
Wow.
And then ecological importance of bears.
Also, I see that they've discovered the one hidden truth about wildlife stuff is they never show you how many bugs are involved with being in the wild. In Tanzania, what were they? It was like, not the horseflies. You had, oh, I've already forgotten the names. They do have the horseflies, right? Wow, I'm spacing on the name of the really annoying bugs that they got there. Not the ticks. They have plenty of ticks as well. But, yeah, you just can't escape it.
I think...
Siren says, mosquitoes are intense. Intense. Pataluth can attest. No, it's not the mosquitoes. Mosquitoes I can deal with, because there are at least ways to, you can put on different types of, they have things, right, to deter them better than the freaking thing I'm thinking of. What is it called? He actually got bit on stream, was bleeding pretty badly. Oh, geez. Yeah, I mean, hold on. What is the freaking bug? What are the annoying bugs all throughout? I'm just gonna use Tanzania for now. National park that are like big flies. Tsetse, that's what it is. These guys are so freaking annoying. Tsetse flies. Why are tsetse flies hard to deter? Repel, that's the word I was looking for. Because standard insect repellents like DEET are often ineffective, and the flies possess specialized physical and behavioral traits that make them persistent biters. Yeah, so they're resistant to common repellents. They're visual hunters, so they locate hosts using sight rather than smell. And they are strongly attracted to movement. That's one thing they mentioned. It's like they kind of laugh. The guides are laughing when they see their tourists, like when the tourists arrive, the guests arrive, and they're like swatting the flies away, or they're like constantly waving something like to get rid of the tsetse flies. They're laughing internally because they know that by them waving around and trying to push away the flies, all you're doing is attracting the flies to you because of the movement. So yeah, it's counterintuitive. Specific dark colors like black and royal blue. Unfortunately, yeah, that's one of the other lessons you learn is like you're supposed to avoid certain colors like white and black in a lot of the like national parks, wildlife related stuff. So maybe FaZe is not wearing the right shirt there. They have robust mouth parts. They're like saw-like labrum, designed to pierce tough animal hide, allowing them to bite rapidly through thin clothing. When they bite, it hurts so much. And they definitely, yeah, there's a lot of bleeding involved. He actually got bit. Fed says, I grew up on an island, so bugs like this never really surprised me anywhere. You were just used to it from a very young age. I'm jealous because it's hard to get used to that.
I think there's more to learn with fish. There can, in a good salmon year, there can
Wow, they got to see some
only
close-up shots here.
Parts of the animal. They'll eat the skin, and it actually
This is actually really good quality though. So again, I'm very hopeful once we're out in Kenya that we should end up retaining good quality.
The flesh meat, just to say.
Never used a widow's veil like this young man though. Listen, I don't blame him. Okay, these things get so freaking annoying, man.
Oh wow.
Fat.
And I've been bitten on the face quite often on recent trips. And that's also super annoying because then it leaves like this big bump, and you know, it's like it takes a long time for it to go away, and it's just not pleasant.
So they call that hyponatremia. They have. I don't think I've seen a wolf in Geographic since then.
How long ago was it?
Probably 2016, 17.
Would the bears, if it's not this time of year and they don't have this kind of mutual understanding, would they hunt a wolf? Or
no, it might be the opposite. The wolves are, to some degree, are here hunting bear cubs. They can pick them off. And wolves, this is a big difference between wolves and bears. Wolves are pack animals. They hunt as a team. Bears have never learned to cooperate enough to feed cooperatively, even though they're all here on this food source. They're each their own enterprise. And except for us owls with cubs, there's very little sharing. There's an exception to that. I have seen a big male share whale.
Fitz says, yeah, this looks a lot like where Treadwell went every year and eventually got eaten. They should ask the bears if they missed their master and savior.
If you think about it, he's interested in her survival because he just made it with her.
Yeah, this is really cool. Not to watch the whole thing, I just want to see if there's any things we can learn from how they're doing the live stream.
Want to do like a cooking segment?
Yeah.
Cooking segment? We can put your IG.
wow. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So they got one of those 99, the small rig. What do you call these? Like the V batteries? Jesus, I'm so bad with these things. So they got one of those big battery things. Okay. Then they got a newer tripod. I think I recognize that tripod. That must be where the Starlink is hooked up to. Yeah. And what is that guy shooting? Okay, so they're powering the Starlink with like that battery source. 99 watt hours probably. V-mount battery. Thank you. I don't know why. I gotta learn these terms. So they got a V-mount battery with the Starlink attached to a tripod. Okay. And I think that based on the size of that, is that bigger? That must be more than a mini, right? So...
Still want to lose the Starlink out the back. Yeah. No, I can do that.
This is real.
Thank you very
This
much.
is real. We're doing it. We're really doing it. Not Jill, part 2, day 2. To Bear Island. I got to be with the right.
It's gonna be great, bro. It's gonna be freaking.
You gotta do it with the right, and it was just a fist bump. It was so funny.
Does it feel weird?
Yeah.
Good.
But it's like a.
Oh, okay, here we go. You know what? Let's full screen this. Let's bring this over. Bring it over, Rover. Let's see here. What quality we got? Ooh, I guess we can also see from this. So they're streaming at 1080 60p. I'm assuming that must be the max, or that's the max I can see. So they're not like streaming 4K, for example, which makes sense. But sometimes I wonder, like, you know, at this level, like obviously money's not necessarily an issue for them. So I'm always curious, like with the best gear, are you able to then, you know, stream this at 4K? But it seems like they're not, which is probably reasonable. Fed says could just be the wide angle, but it does seem a bit larger. Yeah, it could be the wide angle. Let's see though. So they're shooting with the handheld. What is on there? Obviously they got the shotgun mic, and that looks like a pretty basic shotgun mic, to be honest. It's not like the crazy ones. So nothing too ridiculous. Now what's hooked up to it? Let's see.
You do, but sometimes you gotta mix it up. You know, it feels different hand.
Ambidextrous.
Yeah.
They got a big wire. I wonder if this is like a dummy battery, or let's see.
That was a little weird, but it's crisp.
Yeah. Good. But it's like a.
Shotgun mic. Is the shotgun mic connected to the camera, or is that cable going somewhere else? Maybe the wires.
You gotta mix it up. You know, it feels different hand.
Ambidextrous.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are two cables here. It's kind of hard to see, but there's like a white cable and a black cable off to the left of the camera. Cyrene says 4K 60 isn't practical. Yeah, for my thought was I was gonna just stream at 4K 30, or sorry, not 4K, 1080 30. 60 sounded like, oh, it could be useful to do 60 just because there's going to be a lot of motion and action potentially. But like, I don't know how big of a difference it makes on a stream quality for a viewer to see a cheetah rushing at 60 versus at 30. I'm not sure. Or the bumpiness of a vehicle. I don't know. But yeah, 4K seems overkill for sure. Fed says those small rig batteries are pretty nice. Yeah, I think those ones I have access to in Dubai, so that's easy enough. Let's see. It looks like an NTG maybe. I don't know. Cyrene says HDMI capture card, Rode shotgun mic on the camera to the camera. Okay, so the shotgun mic you're saying most likely is hooked directly into the camera, and then one of the cables sticking out from the camera must be going to the capture card. What kind of capture card are we talking about? So, because like I for instance, I'm using those typical ones for the stream, but if you have an HDMI, would it just be that they have this HDMI connected to like the ATEM Mini, for example, or whatever video switcher? I think they mentioned in the last trip they had an ATEM. But in order to do that, I guess you would need the capture card, or no? Could you not just hook it up directly by HDMI? Hold on, I think I'm mixing up a few concepts because I have, so for my stream, I technically just have my cameras hooked up via HDMI in using those Camlink. I have like the Camlink 4K, is it the Elgato Camlinks? So that's like my capture card. I know there's a better quality version than the Camlink. So that's like one option to hook it up into a source. But then my understanding is if I have a Rodecaster or an ATEM Mini, then I don't need the capture card because just by HDMI in, it will take that in as a source, right? Camlink can also be used with the Bella box. Interesting. So I could technically hook up the camera straight to the Bella box. I see. But in this, assuming I'm using the Rodecaster, then I don't need the capture card. But if I do want to directly connect my let's say my ZR to Bella Box, if I'm doing like a walking stream, then I should bring one of my cam links, or I might need to look into that better quality version. I'm not sure. He might be using a TVU backpack. Yeah, I think for sure they are, because last time in the South Africa trip, they mentioned, they showed the TVU kit that they had, so they're not using a Bella Box. He's got the life vest and a pack on. All right, let's keep.
Good for the brain.
True.
Ambidextrous.
Fed says road, Yobel, not road. All right, whatever. Wait, is road like a Norwegian thing?
Yes, literally.
The Instagram channel filled in with mud that he said that. So, did you stay in there long enough?
Okay, better visual here. I got the little peak design hooks. So this white cable is the thing I'm curious about.
I think I grabbed some radio.
Here we go.
Where's that third lap?
I was in charge of the tripods.
I pulled that off you.
Oh, thank
Right
God.
there, look.
Oh, thank God.
Because I found that I could just put it in the boat.
Okay.
Man, 5,000 people watching this. And I'm assuming this is just on Maya's stream, so I don't know what collectively.
Game time.
Okay, so they got this long ass purple cable, Starlink. One Starlink hooked up to the V-mount battery. TVU somewhere.
We got
He's just there. We might
sure.
right now.
Oh, here we go. Hold on.
Look at Max's tech right now.
So what is he? All I see is the vest. And I wonder if he's also controlling, he might be the guy controlling the switch for the scenes. Because he was doing the scene switching previously. So I wonder if he's just doing, he's multitasking. This guy is a boss, you know, he's doing a lot here.
It's the camera.
Oh no, he's just taking a selfie.
Get a recording for the Alveus vlog. Alright, we're headed out to all the freaking bears.
It's time.
It's gonna be time. We got the picture. Okay.
Okay, maybe I have to rewind actually when they're getting into the vehicle, or the boat.
Is this one Connor?
That's awesome.
Connor, is this one Maya's or is it mine? It has, oh, but it has, you have alerts, right? How do you get alerts too?
I think it's logged in. I think it's logged in. I don't know. Space tennis.
Oh, this one. Need a range. Oh, should I get mine? Yeah.
Hey, we got Beatty in the chat. Beatty says, good day, people of the universe. Good to see you. Hopefully you're having a wonderful Tuesday. I was doing some photo edits, and now I'm watching some recap, I guess, of some live streams from Phase Adapt and Maya, because they're back out in the wild. So I'm taking notes in terms of how they're doing the live streams, what tech they're using, and we're getting closer to crunch time in terms of my own wildlife live stream in November. So Cyrene says, oh, Fed mentioned, no, I don't think it's connected to Denmark or Norway. I don't know why they use the 0/ thing. The reps can't even pronounce it. I mean, it's road to me. How else can you pronounce road other than road? Fed says probably just wanted to stick it out and be using, yeah. I mean, it is a nice branding.
My range jacket is in my room. It's a black leather jacket. It should be either on top or on the front.
Chat, we're playing on
Like,
That's what Rachel
fit, perfect. How many times have you done this?
Two
Or this time too?
left. Oh, it's right here.
Same thing. So they're using the Hollyland mics. So it's good to know because that's the mics that I've got as well.
Good, yeah. She's a light jacket on.
And I still have a question, I guess, of like how many mics, because at some point they have at least 3 people talking. So I'm curious if it's like 3 transmitters can go into a single receiver for the Hollyland, or if there's like a second receiver they got hooked up to like their A10 Mini or something. Rode means red in Norwegian, so it makes sense since they have the red shock mounts. Oh, okay. Rode Hunden equals that red dog.
But thank you so much.
In either direction, we're grateful. Thank you guys. For all the stuff, and all the donation rate for.
Okay, here we go.
Awesome. This one's
You see, there's a way to get
Thank you.
alerts.
This guy has no tech on him.
Anyone ever done fucking Twitch stream like this? Ever? In the wild, like on this specific island. Took a flight to Alaska, took another flight to Kobe accident. Actually, it's really cool fun.
Twitch. Do you want
It's
that?
okay, I can get alerts on this phone. I'll post it. Because this is, look at this one over there. You got that crazy sword, yeah, because of your chakra? Yeah. In Naruto, I don't think so. In Demon Slayer.
95.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice.
Thank you. Oh, wait. No more novel. Wait. This is actually now. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 nephews.
Oh wait, I wonder. Oh, I guess you still need the TVU, right? So I think Cyronis, you had mentioned, even if they have a Starlink, they still need that kind of encoder in the middle. Cyronis says, I've got a one-on-one with my boss here in 5 minutes, so I'll be right back. No worries, no worries. You know, tell your boss to say what up, and you deserve a raise.
Hello.
All right, let me see. I need to speed run this until I can get more information.
Getting up or down, Max. We're gonna Viking grip it just like that and help each other on and off.
Okay, so the Starlink, cameraman.
Beep. I need to.
One of those strikes possible. Casting says that we. No. Okay. We have to have stuff. 8 stuff. 8 I don't know. I think I did.
Testing.
Yeah, it was not right. It wasn't. There you go.
Yo, why is this guy naked? Did they mean to show this? That's awkward. That's very awkward. I'm pretty sure I just saw that dude's buck ass naked there. So how does it? You know what? These are things I need to take notes about as well, because they're running the stream for several hours, 10 hours. So there are moments where either they're sleeping or whatever, and they're just keeping the stream running. And I'm curious if they're doing this, there must be a good reason for it, and I'm wondering why. So for example, they're saying right now it's 3 a.m. So they have the stream running, even though it's 3 a.m. for them, they're sleeping. And what they're doing is they're showing from their first trip out in the wild. And so they just have the stream running continuously, I guess. So that's a thought for me as well. Is that something I should be doing? Because I had this conversation with Swiss about what if we set up a camera at nighttime from just like right outside the lodge? Because one of the beauties of being out in these national parks is you're literally out in the wild. So while you're sleeping, you'll hear hippos, lions, elephants, any other type of animal walking right past your tent. It's kind of trippy, right? Because you can hear them, you can almost like feel them at times. So it's kind of like a reminder you're really out there. And so the thought was like, what if we could turn on a camera to show like a night cam view? So anytime some animal walks by, could it trigger something so you could actually see that while we're sleeping? I don't know. So anyways, trying to figure out how to make that work, or if that's even possible to run a super long stream. I guess it would be battery powered, or it should be fine. BD says the switch for the stream happens off-site. Unlimited IRL is the company that manages all of these streams for all the large streamers. They are really the people behind this stuff. Oh, thank you for that juicy information. Hold on. What was it? Unlimited IRL. Unlimited IRL. The world is your studio. Oh, is this the guy? Do they rent like the TVUs and stuff from them? Or I guess the live view here. Built for when live really matters. Okay. Interesting. Well, BD, this is like super helpful, because it sounds like maybe these are the people I need to try to team up with in the future. I say team up as if they'll work with me, but if I can somehow pitch my concept to them, or if my pilot goes well, it might be one of those where it's like, hey, can you help us out in the future? Let's see. So what exactly do they provide? Products. Okay, so they provide the live view or the TVU and the IRL kit. Gotcha. But yeah, here's the kicker, right? The price tag here. Meanwhile, I got shout out to my boy Cyronius over on Twitch. You know, he's built this out for me Much simpler, much cheaper, but a way for me to be able to test out this IRL streaming more cleanly. But I get it. These are like this is like the high-tech stuff, yeah? Backpack version 7. Stream at up to 20 Mbps. Powered by Live View. So basically, instead of this Live View, I'm using the Bellabox solution. BD says they handle everything end to end. It's a white glove service from their studio. Well, that's kind of cool. So even if I don't need their hardware, you're saying they could also help out when it comes to just like switching scenes or managing the actual stream quality or whatever? Okay. You've piqued my curiosity, BD. Thank you very much. This is actually incredibly helpful information because there's a world where, you know, whether it's somehow partnering with them or leveraging their service, maybe not for the pilot, or maybe even then, it might be worth just seeing what they can do to help out. So, all right. Okay, so yeah, this is what they're doing, right? So they've got a camera running live throughout. I wonder what's the value of that. Is that just to keep the stream running and then you just collect more eyeballs on a stream that's longer? Or like, what's the difference between shutting off the stream while they're sleeping and then starting up a new one when they're ready to stream versus just keeping it running from, you know, the evening time? I guess this allows people in the chat community to talk to each other, so I get the value there. But then I wonder, is there some additional value where if you have a long running stream, then it kind of pushes your stream higher up in the Twitch feed? Because like my thought was like, okay, when I do the stream, it would just be like probably 2 to 3 hours at a time, because we would do the game drive in the morning and that would run for about 2 to 3 hours, and then come back to the camp, probably end the stream, you know, during midday so we can catch up on sleep or recover, recharge, start up the second stream for the afternoon game drive, come back, maybe continue from there to do an evening stream from the lodge where we edit the photos or kind of review the captures, go through a bit of AMA and all that kind of stuff, and then go to sleep. So that was going to be like 3 streams every day. 2 to 3 streams, depends on the second stream if it extends. So it'd be a morning drive, afternoon drive, and then evening in the lodge. But then the way they're doing it, it almost sounds like it's actually better if you just do 1 stream from the early morning and you just run it all day somehow. I guess, you know, make sure the batteries don't die. Or I guess maybe in between you just have one of those like AFK style videos that loop. But the stream itself doesn't end. It just continues. Huh. Interesting. But then that's a lot of data as well. Actually, is it? I don't know. Okay, I'm getting a little bit lost here. It sounds like these are some questions I need to really think through later. But yeah, they start the stream from like 10 p.m. their time, or whenever, 11 p.m. And they just had this running with the live feed from the front of the boat, which is kind of cool. That is pretty badass. And then they're just picture in picture, I guess, or looping in some of their older videos. I can totally do that. No issues there. Then eventually they start to wake up. When does that happen? Wait, the camera changed as well, right? So before, it was this front camera. Is this the same camera? No. Okay, so they switched cameras at some point. Maya and Adapt are sleeping. And then from there, they just cut over to a full screen as they're probably doing setup. And it's just replaying some of their videos.
Okay, so this morning's gonna look like at 8 we're fitting waiters. Maybe only take a half hour to get everybody dressed comfortable in their waiters. Even once you try them for the first time, you might not have everyday layers. Once you wear underneath them on, you try them on, they stay on. So you want your day pack, you want a bottle, and whatever little thing you're gonna bring with you, if you have little items, pack that pack. Then we put on waiters, and then we're dressed. Now we have to talk about bear behavior, human behavior, and human interactions, so that we are all on the same page.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. You know, all things since. Oh, here we go. This could be interesting. Let's see what we can find out from them walking. Handheld camera. Phone on the top. I wonder what that's for. Oh, that's interesting. So maybe the phone on the top could be... Oh, no, I don't think it's him. I was going to say maybe he's using this to switch scenes or something, but it sounds also like what BD mentioned. It's like this unlimited IRL service. And then you got the dude with the Starlink. And look at that.
I think so one second.
Yeah, just like a highway. They come and go. And we can use this island here, and we can use the bank up there.
How big is this island for scale?
So you're actually on the mainland again. So we're on the North American continent. Kodiak Island, where we came from yesterday, is the size of Connecticut, about 3,000 square miles.
Okay. Anyways, I think this is as much as I can gather from this so far. Very, very useful stuff, though. I feel way more excited. I think we're gonna crack through on this stream. So what is it? We're at end of August. We got all of September. October, I mentioned I'll be gone for at least 2 weeks for my personal, or I say personal, but like for the photography workshop. But then using that time, I'll try to do some live streams, right? So assuming I need all the gear. So basically September, guys, is like the month. It is the game time month in the sense that I need to receive all the tech stuff. I need to start testing it. I need to build out the scenes within OBS. I need to, yeah, a lot of stuff, software and hardware. Fed says, I hope your live stuff is going to be more selective than this live soap opera, like just going live when you're actually doing something cool, because 90% of their live stream seems to be pointless. Well, you know, I won't say that per se, but I get what you're saying. It seems like that's what I was questioning right now. It seems like they're running a single live stream. Even when they're sleeping, they had the stream going. And so then my question is, these guys are real professionals, right? They're actually proper, you know, top of their game live streamers. So there must be a reason for every decision. And so I'm trying to think through, like, is there a reason that they would be keeping the stream going instead of like chopping this up into streams only when the exciting things happen, like when the event starts, right? Is it better to just have a single stream running because of the metrics, because of something in the back end, how a stream is treated, or even just like from the simple concept of like, if you end a stream, then people will tune out and they're not notified when the stream starts up again. So it's better if they just keep a single stream running. So then, you know, their followers could just, you know, keep it on. And then the moment audio kicks up or something, they're live. I don't know. But like the fact that they do it, I don't dismiss it as like, I think there's intention, which I can't dismiss, is what I'm saying. But I do hope my live will be, when I say selective, I do hope it'll be entertaining throughout. I do hope that as we test this out, it's gonna, you know, show you the things that matter. But keep in mind, the scale is ginormously different, right? I'm streaming to just a handful of people versus these guys are like, they got money behind what they're doing, where they also have to make sure the metrics are clean, you know, compared to me. I say clean as in like they have to show that they're getting their money's worth for the higher production stuff that they're doing. Fed says the other 10% is cool nature stuff, but that 90% of downtime seems really lame. Yeah, maybe. I'm keeping that in mind for myself as well. I'll see what I can do to make sure I don't have too much boring time. BD says, just for the sake of proof. Gotcha. Fed says, I don't really care what the reason. I just don't. I just know I don't want to watch it. Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying. Like, if there's value, for sure. So, for example, if, for instance, what I was talking about, if we're able to set up a camera, like a night camera, that whether it's motion activated or it just like is on. So when all this activity is happening outside the tent, and like I'm telling you, I've never been to this camp, but every camp I've been to in the wild, you will hear, and you can see the foot, like the paw prints outside your lodge the next morning. And they literally are just like walking right past. In one of them in Zimbabwe, I have some really cool shots through the tent, like the screen, where you can see the elephants just walking right by you, and they're like eye level because the way the tents are built. And yeah, it'd be really cool if you can have a live cam running while you're sleeping, but it's just like in a position where you might be able to catch those moments. Then it's like the you're not hearing anyone speak. It's really just like it's a live cam of like, you know, will you be the one who sees the cheetah walking by, you know? Fed says, I like to tune into stuff when something happens, not 10 hours before and hope something happens. Yeah, for sure. And it's like to each their own kind of a thing. BD mentions, to me, from a business perspective, it seems like really unnecessary ingress and egress fees that can really bring down budget for that end of things. You're talking about them running like a long stream. There might be some costs with the data or the upkeep of it. I have no idea. Yeah, because that thought crossed my mind is like, where is the data coming from? Like, for example, if you have your Starlink and, you know, you could have an unlimited plan, which I'm sure helps, but I wonder if there's a limit to the unlimited plan as well. I have no idea. And then secondly, how much data is being pulled through for that versus if they're just well, no, they did show that they were using a live camera, unless that was pre-recorded. It seemed like they did have a live camera at the front of the boat at night. So it did seem like it was actually technically a live stream running throughout. So yeah, that is a lot of data for sure, which I think for me, it would be hard to justify. But the thought did cross my mind. If I run 3 streams every day while we're doing this pilot in Kenya, if we have a morning stream, afternoon stream, evening stream, does that hurt, or is it better to just have a single stream? I have no idea. My thought was like, by having those 3 streams, it's useful in the sense that different time zones. So hopefully you guys would be able to catch at least 1 or 2 of them live, depending on the time zone. The one you can't catch live because it's nighttime or whatever else, maybe you can, you know, catch up later with, or when I put it into a YouTube video, obviously there's that. So then hopefully there's the chance of catching more people, a new audience as well, depending on where they live, if you're doing a morning, afternoon, evening activity. BD says exactly. Fed says people will often put up a cam like that with sensors just to catch some rare animals over 6 months. Is cool. Yeah, that's like a typical. I say typical, but that is like one of the proper uses of like a wildlife cameras, right? You're doing like you're creating a hide with the motion detected sensors, and yeah, so it's like kind of actually fits perfectly with what would make sense to have a super long I'm sleeping, but the stream is still running kind of a thing. Because in this case, it's like, yes, I'm sleeping, but this is where, and you'll, you know, the more you do these wildlife stuff, you realize most of the activity happens at night when we're not able to see what's going on. That's where a lot of the hunting happens. Most of these animals are nocturnal. So if only the technology was good enough that you could see everything in the nighttime, that's when you would want to do a safari drive, really. But then, yeah, like I said, when you're sleeping, the amount of animals that are just walking through is insane. So the more you can capture that, the better. So yeah, I think that'd be interesting. Man, once this tech is running and once I'm able to do these IRLs, guys, I think I shared before with you all, one of the countries I've been to, Zimbabwe, a couple times now. There's a couple lodges that I stayed at where the elephants would walk right through the lodge. One of them, there's a swimming pool, and the elephants go right up to the swimming pool throughout the day, but usually at nighttime, it seems. They come right up there and just drink from the swimming pool. And so imagine if I could show that live. Or in the other lodge where the elephant walks right through, and it's kind of crazy. So those kind of moments, that's also one of those where it triggered me to be like, oh, I would love to go live and bring people into this moment. Fed says, but then there's really no reason to run it live. Just use sensors and show the best parts on a video. Yeah, that's a good point as well. Just run it, and then if there's moments, we review it later. But then again, it's like the whole point is like seeing something live is very interesting. Right now, if you tune into YouTube, actually, we can probably find an example as we speak. here. Do 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 do. Oops. Wildlife live camera. Some of these are not live. Okay, so this one, it looks like it's just a hide. Oh, it's by Morton Hilmer. But yeah, it's a 24/7 camera, just pointing at a location, and people watch. There's 300, almost 400 people watching this for the chance of something happening, right? Or you got these like bird feeders. You got a live cam for this. These are some of the ones I'd seen in the past where, yeah, oh yeah, here we go. Here's a good example. They just have a camera set up at night, right? And it's just on a fixed tripod, nothing special. And then you just see it running 24/7. And right now, 750 people are watching. I don't know how this one works because it said it started streaming on November 13th. So I don't know if that's actually true, if they were able to run this stream. Yeah, I actually have no idea. Like, have they just had the stream running 24/7 since 2024? And then it gets cut up into these like 12-hour YouTube chunks. Yeah, like close to 1,000 people just watching this. And like, who knows? Maybe a few hours ago, there was nothing there. So if you tune in at the wrong time, you get nothing. But then you tune in at this point and you're like, oh my God, I got this elephant just hanging out. And then look at this. Look at this little guy hanging out next to the elephant, you know? So there is a real value to this. It's hard to, I guess, describe, but to see wildlife in real time it's like its own kind of level of excitement. I think it's hard to quantify. Fed says, I remember the elephants by the pool. Yeah. It was in Zimbabwe. Fed says the live stuff is cool and new, but there's no reason to just run stuff 24/7. That would be better content for my channel for sure. I agree. But if I have a select number of days somewhere and I have the technology to do a live stream for an extended period of time, these are things that I want to experiment regardless and be like, hey, you know, obviously we're going to do the more exciting stuff where it's more engaging. We're on a vehicle. I'm talking. The guides are there. The photos are being snapped, blah, blah, blah. So that's like the real, you know, the central point of what we're trying to prove out. But then it's like, hey, we also have the ability, when I'm sleeping, we can turn on like this. Imagine if this was like the view from my hide or from my tent, and it could just point this way. So it's like, hey, while I'm sleeping, there's still technically crazy stuff that we can actually potentially capture. And you might see stuff that I'm not because I'm sleeping. And then it's like, wake up, see what we got, review, and then we go for the next game drive. Because like, I'm telling you, man, this is so cool. Like, look at this elephant. Elephant's like, yo, back off, right? Imagine seeing the elephant charge at this dude, you know? Fed says maybe it's people with insomnia watching. It could be, but also it's just like, you know, time zones, you know what I mean? So there's also the added benefit, especially as a small streamer, if I'm able to have some kind of interesting content running during my nighttime, which then could hopefully get me in the other time zones to, you know, hopefully get more people to see my channel. That's an added benefit. BD says, dang, I can't believe it's only 3 weeks away from the first opening for a film I actually have a stake in. Oh, that's very exciting. Very, very exciting. 3 weeks, that's going to swing on by. Oh, look, second elephant coming through. Fed says, I remember people would watch a 12-hour train ride and 12-hour Arctic cruise shot here in Norway. Americans loved it. They called it slow TV and had tons of views. Yeah. I mean, the slow TV concept is something I've been dabbling with. It's been a while since I made my latest video on that, but I've done plenty of these. You can find it on my YouTube channel. I've got a playlist of a bunch of like anywhere from, generally speaking, I try to make it about an hour long, but the longest one I have is like the 5-hour version of my chimpanzee footage. And so it's just like slow TV. I just put some cinematic soundtracks, slow motion, the footage, and then you can see some of the key moments of various animals, you know, during my travels. Actually, you can see it right now, right behind me. Is there a better view? You can kind of see it there, I guess. But on the TV screen behind me, it's just playing my slow TV playlist, you know, while I stream. So. BD says, we'll open in LA, New York City, and Atlanta. One of my good friends' debut features, and it was so fun to work on, especially with little bureaucracy involved. Oh, that's great. It sounds like bureaucracy is always in the way, right? For these kind of film stuff. the trailer finally released last week. Well, BD, is this something where are you able to share the link to the trailer, or do you want it, you would rather it be, I don't know, like private or something? But either way, I mean, that's exciting news. Yo, one thing I never expected, I didn't know that when you're filming in this kind of nighttime mode, the bugs and everything will create those little like trailing lights. That is so cool. I didn't know that was something that would happen. Must be with like the shutter speed and all that, but that's a cool ass effect. So I'll have to keep that in mind. Fed says that started the trend back then. Gotcha. The first slow TV of the train ride was live in 2008. Gotcha. Yeah, it's really, it works well for YouTube, right? A lot of people, they watch YouTube just to have background noise. So, yeah. And here you get the sound of nature. All right, so BD sent over something. Ooh, I want to see if this, if they get pissed off at this. What is this? It looks like a, maybe it's like a wild dog or a. All right, official trailer. If I go, will they miss me? I like this. Rich Spirit. Let's go ahead and give it a sub. Shout out to Beatty. Wow, look at the quality already. It looks really pro. Before we start, let me just make sure it's in the best quality. We'll put in that 4K. All right.
Did he ever get to fly?
Nah.
Yeah, I know you ain't scared. Come on. It ain't that cold.
Pegasus' dad was a god. They called him Poseidon. He was buff and he had muscles, and he was the strongest ever. Pegasus had a mom too. And her name
it's
was
this actor.
Medusa.
I don't want to have to keep telling you. Don't keep drawing me, man.
Wait, why does that guy look like... One of the guys for a second reminded me of Tyler, the Creator, for a brief second. And then this actress just now, the Medusa one, I think, where I've seen her in something. I don't know where. I think she's a good actress. Fed says it was NRK, the state TV here, that suddenly had so many channels on digital TV, so they figured they could use one channel to run these long, live, one-shot train rides. Then it got really popular when they sold the footage to foreign TV and dubbed slow TV. Okay, we're learning the history. Okay, I apologize, BD. Let's watch this in full without interruption. I usually interrupt all the time, but since this is something you worked on, I think it's best to see it in its entirety without my...
Did he ever get to fly?
Nah.
Yeah, I know you ain't scared. Come on. It ain't that cold.
Pegasus' dad was a god. They called him Poseidon. He was buff and he had muscles, and he was the strongest ever. Pegasus had a mom too, and her name was Medusa.
I don't want to have to keep telling you. Don't keep drawing me, man.
That's cool.
Somebody told me you got your ass whooped while I was gone. How you think that make me look out here?
We're not perfect. Your daddy is a work in progress. I'm a work in progress, but we're gonna figure this out.
So what you and that nappy-head boyfriend?
I'm glad he home. The kids need their daddy.
Do what you need.
And it's not about what I need.
You can't just take Anthony to the beach one time and just expect everything to go back to normal. It don't work like that.
I don't feel like fucking talking today, Mom.
Okay?
I read through all of those letters that you sent me. You was a whole different person.
He sees you as something that we could never see our fathers. He sees you as a god. Hold on to him tight. Don't let him fly away. Don't let them take him away. Tell him you love him.
If I go,
That's my son.
will they miss me?
Very cool.
You come back up. Sometimes you gotta get low again. Go to the left. I have to go to the right. You always want to stand strong, man.
Very cool. Man, that was excellent, excellent. So shout out to Beatty. She's okay, so she's most known for her role in The Holdovers, was also in Peacemaker. Oh, okay. Peacemaker. I saw the first season, I loved it. I don't have access to the second one, so I've been waiting for it to show up somewhere for me to watch. Peacemaker. Yeah, you're right. You're right. She was the what was she? Did she play like a spy or I forget what she played. She was really good in this, but I thought I saw her in some other stuff too. Hold on. Peacemaker actress. Oh, here it is. Danielle Brooks. Oh, so Danielle Brooks. What else was she in? Oh, okay. Orange is the New Black. I saw the first 3 seasons of that. Maybe it's from that I first saw her. Okay. Anyways, man, that was a really good trailer. That looks like super, super well done. I was like feeling emotional just watching the freaking trailer. So, Beatty said, Danielle Brooks, she's amazing in giving her talent to this project when she could have done other things that were more lucrative. She's most known for a role in The Holdovers and also in Peacemaker. Fed says, nice Medusa shot. Yeah, I think, you know what? It's a really interesting storyline. I really like the concept, right? You know, kind of like dysfunctional family. I don't know if dysfunctional is the right word, but the kind of that feeling of, you know, looking up to your parents when the parents are just older versions of you going through their own struggles. And then, you know, obviously sounds like a movie where a lot of things will go wrong, you know, and pull at your heartstrings kind of a thing. But man, yeah, I think it's good. That looks really good. So yeah, Beatty, that was good. Wait, let me just reread then what you mentioned. Trailer released last week. It's going to open in LA, New York City, and Atlanta. So basically you got to work on it. It's one of your friend's debut features. Gotcha. And I don't know why, maybe I'm racist, but I thought one of the characters, there was like a moment where it looked like the person that came to mind was Tyler, the Creator. Yeah. It's not just me. I swear there's like one dude in the shot, like hanging out the window, or hanging out the car window. And I was like, hey, is that Tyler, the Creator? But anyways, wow, well done. Very excited to see how where it's gonna go from here. I don't know the first thing about like this kind of film world, but I'm assuming you pitch it to all these like film festivals. Is that the route? You film it all and then you pitch it to film festivals. You try to get some awards or something, and then eventually it goes to theater. I don't know. I probably just like dumbed it down significantly. All right, so this is the adapt. So anyways, they're doing the thing that I hope to do very soon. And the quality looks really nice.
Oh, come on. Get one. I see one go through the net.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
Green?
Yeah. Green.
See, if I was here, obviously I'd be rocking my 400 millimeter or a 600. I'd be low angle trying to get the photos. Man, look how close the bear is, though. You can see some of the guy's gears are right there. It premiered at Sundance earlier this year, as well as TIFF. What is TIFF? Festival. Toronto International Film Festival. Gotcha. Well, one of these days, Beatty, you'll see my name there. All right. We'll give it a 10-year horizon. Within 10 years, okay, it's gonna happen. That should give me enough time to actually make excuses. Fed says, yeah, I'd be filming nonstop. Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, this is the kind of thing you do when if you're a wildlife photographer in the States, the two places you always go to is Alaska and Yellowstone. Yellowstone, I think for the bears as well, but I think people go there for the buffalo, the bisons. Yellowstone National Park. Is it the bison or the buffalo? I really want to film these bison in the winter time. So I think the ideal time to go is winter, because then you see their whole fur, everything, they're just covered, like caked in snow. And you just look at that. I mean, come on. How phenomenal is this photo? This is the kind of shot I would love to not necessarily die for. Okay, let's not go there. But this is the kind of stuff I would love to just be able to spend, you know, a full month just waiting and trying my best to get a shot like this. These are fantastic. So it does require me to be back in the States for it. It's a lot of planning, but I do hope that I can do a trip to Yellowstone at some point soon. Because like these are just phenomenal, man, you know? For footage as well, but I think honestly, this would bring me back to photography. I think getting a single frame of something like this, it'll be hard to beat. Even if you can get something similar of seeing the bison in the snow as the snow is like passing by in slow motion. It's just the photo moment itself is striking. Fed says people often refer to the bison as buffalo, but yeah, they're bison. Yeah, I always mix it up. Actually, let's look it up. Difference between dude, I think my computer is listening to me because I didn't even have to finish it out. It says difference between buffalo and bison. Oh yeah, of course I should know this. I'm an idiot. I totally knew this because I see the water buffaloes all the time in parts of Africa. Yeah, the Cape buffalo is what that is, right? Cool. Okay, anyways, guys, it is now 10:30 p.m. my time. There's a lot of things I need to wrap up on my end before the night is done. And then tomorrow, hopefully, I'll wake up earlier and get a crack on some of these things. So like I said, right now, the game plan is we've got about a month, a little over a month before I go on my next trip, a month and a half. During that time, it is kind of crunch time of preparing a lot of the tech stuff to start testing out the IRL stream. And then I'll be going on my next couple travels. So yeah, I'm very excited. So yeah, but it's also crunch time. There's not much time left. My cats say hello and goodbye. Yeah, they're both still hanging out with me. Let me bother him real quick. Let's do the crane machine. Good boy. Fed says we only have Moskus here in Norway in Dovrefjell. I've been there. The what is it? The musk ox. Yeah, I got to see the musk ox, but it was before I knew how to do wildlife photography. So I shot it with like a 70-200 lens. It wasn't the cleanest, but yeah, it was really cool. I definitely want to go back for that though. Probably wintertime again, you know. Anyways, so my cats say goodbye. Thank you guys for another really fun stream. I appreciate it. Thanks for all of you guys who stay tuned. Tomorrow I'll be doing more photo edits. Maybe I will actually focus a bit on the color grading side. And then I'm working on episodes 4 and 5 of my travel vlog series. So if you want more of my content, I have pinned on all the chats, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick, to my latest YouTube video. I think it's about 13 minutes. It's my latest episode of my recent travels across 2 months. Munich, Germany, then to Uganda for 9 days, and then we still haven't gotten it yet, but we're then hopping into Tanzania. So I hope you check it out. Let me know your thoughts. I also posted on my Instagram, so I am being a bit more active on Instagram as well. So in case you want more types of content from me, hop on over to my Instagram page and you'll see my latest post. It's a little bit of the kind of behind the scenes of how I capture some of my key photos. If if you're watching my live streams, you get the full thing, right? You get the full behind the scenes of watching me edit start to finish. This is a little bit more condensed, as you can imagine. Fed says there was a woman shooting them with a ZR during the launch when you did. Oh yeah, that's I forgot her name, but she's one of the ambassadors for Nikon Europe. Yeah, I forget her name, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Listen, we're going to get to that point at some point. We'll see. Cool, guys. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of your evening or day, wherever you guys